Less than great day at Bills camp when it comes to injuries. First-round rookie Max Haristen left practice early with what appeared to be a knee injury. Fellow corner Dane Jackson spoke to the media following practice and said it appeared to be a non-contact injury. But as of now, no word on the severity. Safety Cole Bishop also left practice early, but was able to return and stand on the sidelines. And then before practice, tight end Dalton Kincaid was able to return after just one day, taking the day off. Bills will have off tomorrow, and we'll get more on it today when Sal Capaccio joins the show at 6. Sal also has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. The Bills are not the only team dealing with injuries. Chiefs wide receiver Hollywood Brown left on a cart with a lower leg injury. However, he appears to have avoided anything serious. Patriots corner Christian Gonzalez is set to be sidelined for a few weeks with a hamstring injury. His Week 1 availability, though, is not expected to be an issue. And Cowboys, they lose a corner Kalen Carson 4 to 6 weeks with a hyperextended knee. And then in baseball, Blue Jays, they have a doubleheader against Baltimore. Game 1 currently going on. Jays trail that game at 10-3 in the 7th. The Yankees host the Rays just after 7 o'clock. The Mets are out west versus the Padres just after 9:40. And then the Bisons, they are also in action tonight. They host Syracuse just after 6:30. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. It's Mike Schopp. And the Bulldog. It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Damn! On WGR Sports Radio 550.
No lies told. Potentially bad news for the Bills today. Haristen. We don't know. But
it didn't look good.
No.
I didn't see the action that caused him to be on the ground, but
there wasn't any.
The way teammates are talking, I saw a clip from Christian Benford. Like, he's upset about it. Like, it sounds like the guys are bracing for it to be a serious injury.
I think maybe we all are.
Yeah.
We should be.
Well, I'm taking my cues from them, so that's what I'm doing now. Yes, I'm bracing for that to be serious news.
I was thinking, I'm watching the couple of clips of Haristen being attended to after going down, and I know you feel likewise how differently I or we would have thought about this when we were 25 years younger. And it's just it would all have been about, okay, there's no good or bad here, but what does this mean? Can they replace him? If they need to, can they replace him? Who else is, all the Bills stuff. Like, you're trying to win a championship, and what do I do if I lose my potential, a starting cornerback here in July? Like, what do I do? Again, no good or bad. I'm not looking for credit. Today I'm watching that. I just feel so bad for the kid.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking about is the kid. Like, getting drafted first round on a good team, if that means a lot, might. And here is this is like the high point of your life. Like, this is the best. I'm in the NFL. I'm, defending Keon Coleman. I'm trying to break up passes thrown by Josh Allen. I'm in the NFL. And then what? A freak trip up? Is that how Dane Jackson put it?
Non-contact.
And now I'm asking myself, all the questions are just racing through your mind. Like, oh no, am I going to lose a year? Am I going to ever be the same? All the things you might think if you're scared like that.
Yeah. I think that what you're referring to is a thing that nobody ever really tells you will happen to you as you age, and I think especially if you become a parent. Like I think that it's a natural reaction once you have, people in your life who you are in charge of for, some amount of time, although that, the connection is never going to stop even though they're adults. I mean, I still would feel horrible if something happened to one of my kids, like, even though I'm not the one like holding their hand right this moment. But I think that I don't know if softens you is the right phrasing, but it just changes your perspective on it. I think before my wife and I had kids, I don't think I felt that way about guys when they got hurt. I didn't think of them as the people that they are. But then, you get the further you get into it, and I don't think this matters one way or the other if your kid plays competitive sports at any level, a high level, or whatever. So I don't think it's pertinent that, like, my kid went on the journey he went on. I think it can inform how much work goes into doing it. So it probably does play some part, but I think it's mostly just being a parent. Even though we're obviously not related to these players at all, but you know it takes a lot to get there, and to have something go that way, it affects you. It affects me, and like you're saying, in a vastly different way than it did when I was single and just, like, it was all about the team. Then the guy, it was, why did you have to get hurt? We need you. Not, man, I feel horrible for you that you got hurt. And that might seem obvious or subtle to our audience. I don't know. Maybe they haven't experienced it yet. Or maybe I'm wrong about this assertion that it changes as you age or you have kids. But I think for me, I don't know when it flipped, but I'll bet it was around the time that Owen showed up.
Maybe. I just know how I feel, and you don't decide, you just sort of feel it.
Yeah.
And today it was all like this guy, oh my God, what is that like right now? The pictures or the short videos that I watched, you couldn't see his face. And I was almost relieved.
Yeah.
Right? He might have had his face covered or something. Well, hope for the best. I mean, I was on my Tuesday morning fantasy podcast, ADP Chasing, when this news broke. And we were all making fun of how many guys, maybe this is like peak this year for some reason, how like, oh, he's hurt. Oh, he's fine. Oh, he's hurt. Xavier Worthy is hurt. No, he's back. Malik Neighbors is hurt. Well, maybe, but he's not going to play anymore today, but maybe not that bad.
Hollywood Brown got carted off, but he avoided serious injury.
Hollywood Brown. Justin Fields is already back. That wasn't a week ago, and he's already practicing in full as of yesterday. Like all these guys that Luther Burden was kicked out of a drill, and he was kicked out of practice, or so we thought, that he was on the field. I mean, just not even an injury, but so many of these. I think I feel this way now. Maybe was there somebody with the Bills already? Like Kincaid was back today, right? A lot of guys weren't. But we talked at this time yesterday. I think it feels right to assume the least when it comes to a lot of these, that because of how the league is now and just the very laser-like focus on getting ready, getting in shape, and not being taxed and not taking any chances when it comes to injuries, not even playing in the preseason sometimes, just being ready for the season. As far as that has gone to that extreme, well, okay, Elijah Moore has general soreness. Am I going to really worry about that? I mean, some period of years ago, you might have been right to think like, oh, this is really bad. And yesterday and today, it felt like, well, it probably isn't. These guys are probably okay. They're just being careful.
Most of them, yeah, right.
But then once in a while,
you get one that feels like the reactions tell you that it might be more serious than these other ones that are seemingly day-to-day type things.
Right. We had one on the Cowboys late yesterday, the starting tackle.
Right.
Who Schefter and Rappaport got in on it. So right? That's when feared to have a torn ACL, like this doesn't look good. And then a couple of hours later, it was like, no, actually
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks wasn't as bad as we thought. The information machine right now, I don't know what to do.
Right.
But I don't want to be completely, doomsayer when it comes to these because a lot of guys come right back.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I haven't heard this said specifically by Sean McDermott or anyone. Maybe it'll come up with all these injuries that are, even if they're minor, it might be a good time to get some clarification. I don't know how necessary it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if players have been told in meetings, maybe repeatedly throughout camp, you have any issue at all, get a trainer. Like, just don't try to grind through something. Like, you got a tweak, you got a twinge, you got whatever, discomfort of any kind. Talk to somebody. It's hot out here. Let's take no chances. And that might be what we're seeing, and that would make sense if that's happening all around the league too.
Sure.
Because you want to protect these players from themselves sometimes. I mean, at this time, I think yesterday we were talking about motivation for guys who aren't as entrenched on the roster to sort of keep going and fight through stuff because they're worried they miss a rep, somebody's going to take their spot, and they might never get back. They might get replaced. They might bring someone in for a tryout, and that's it. If you're anywhere from the 60th to 90th guy on this roster, that's a real fear you'd have. I'm sure the Bills would like you to handle the situation the same way I'm saying that I think a lot of the veteran entrenched players do, which is, all right, I got, something over here. I need a hand. But I think it's harder for that guy at the bottom end of the roster, I think, to call attention to it because you don't want to be someone who's not available. You want to prove you can do it. I can do this. You can count on me. So there's a balance to be walked there, but I think teams should be extra cautious, and I think they are. I think we're seeing that around the league. I'm not here to compare lists of injuries from other teams to what the Bills have right now. They seem like they have a long list. I'll bet other teams have similarly long lists of guys. We're a week or so into this now. It's hot as bejesus everywhere that these camps are happening. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that some of what happened today, I mean, we know David Edwards didn't practice today because he got overheated yesterday. I think that was what the reporting on that was this morning when practice started, and he wasn't participating. So you could have guys walking off for that reason, and what are we to do with it? What are we to know? We don't know. The team doesn't have to tell us until they see fit to do so, if at all, because there's no injury report here. I mean, it's just the coach talking, really, is how we find this stuff out, or through, whatever, reporters finding out exactly what's going on. But it's alarming, and when you get one that feels right now, Haristen, I'm hoping for like the Dallas scenario that you just alluded to with Guyton.
Sure. Which
started off, boy, this sounds bad. It looks bad. There's a lot of concern. Oh, not that bad. I mean, still would be pretty devastating for a rookie corner trying to win a spot on this defense to miss, a month or more if it comes to that. But right now, that feels like I would sign for that because it sounds like it could be much worse than that.
Yeah, right. I mean, if he does miss a month, he's not starting week 1.
Right.
It might be a while. Maybe he wasn't going to anyway. You can also look for, this is maybe obvious, but look for clues in if the Bills bring someone in. And I think Douglas is kind of the obvious name there, he's been here and they have not yet been inclined to do that, evidently. But if they're worried that they're not going to have this player, then that's something like that probably happens. I mean, you have to bring someone in. And then it becomes, I don't know, I have to admit, I didn't think a lot about Douglas last year. You have with offensive linemen, how if you don't hear their name, they're doing well. If they're not stories by their play, then that's probably a good thing. And I don't know if that's the same for corner. We didn't spend a lot of time. He didn't really make any plays last season. He came in as a playmaker, and he immediately was one for the Bills in 23. Last year, he really didn't make any plays, but I neither spent a lot of time thinking about him as a detriment. So I don't know what's right. You said yesterday, and you've said, you didn't think he was good. And the Bills might have said the same thing because they had a need there.
Their actions, I think, tell you that they're more willing to go back to Tre'Davious White and Dane Jackson than bring Rasul Douglas back. I think that tells you a lot.
It might have cost different.
Yeah.
But that could have been a misplay by Douglas because he's not signed anywhere yet.
Right.
But, if you'd rather have Trey White back than Douglas as a potential starter, that tells you something about how the Bills thought it was going with Douglas. So maybe it wouldn't be him. Maybe it would be Stephon Gilmore. There are still names. And those guys, I think, are waiting for
this sort of
injuries
thing to happen. Yeah, as ghoulish as that might sound. But
Right. We don't know yet what Haristen is. But it could be bad. And that's a huge thing. Like yesterday, almost ironically, it seems, Sal wrote and we talked about Benford and how impressive he's been and his career so far. It took, for me and maybe for us anyway, it took the conversation away from the other starting cornerback position to the number one guy. And that felt good because here's a guy that's underrated and excellent. And we went through 5:30 yesterday. I'm going through the wide receiver ones on every team, Benford against Drake London, Benford against this guy and that guy. And today shakes you right back to, okay, well, do I have a hole?
Yeah.
And if I don't have Maxwell Hairston to fill it, even if that was going to need time anyway, now what? How vulnerable are the Bills if they don't have an answer there?
Yeah, and it is it's a bit of a kick, maybe more than a bit of a kick in the stomach to one of the brighter storylines early on in camp, which has been how good Tre'Davious White looks. I heard a clip from Joe Marino. He was on with the guys this morning, but I don't think it was from this morning. I think they played it, in fact, on the way into his appearance with them from the podcast he does with Jerry Ostrowski and Jeremy White, one of our morning show co-hosts, saying, you can write it down right now. Tre'Davious White's going to be starting for this team on opening day. And Harrison getting hurt doesn't undo that, but what it does is it sort of turns it from, boy, look at Tre'Davious White. The first-round pick can't beat him out, and we were going to be arguing about whether or not that, is that because Harrison can't do it or because White is found the fountain of youth or what is it? And now it's just it's gone from, well, maybe Tre'Davious White can hold off the plucky kid to, I sure hope Tre'Davious White's okay. Because now we need him even more than we thought we needed him. He was like a break glass in case of emergency signing, and that changed almost the second they started practicing. I think that people went oh, he kind of looks like Tre'Davious White looked before he started getting hurt all the time, but it's still just yeah. And I know I hear that sound, and it's an appropriate sound to make because it's training camp. And White, there's a lot of emotion tied up in there. We opened up here talking about injuries. Watching him on the field after the second injury was devastating to a lot of fans. I think watching that happen to him, how he reacted, you knew oh, this is bad.
Miami.
Yeah. So, but it changes. It changes everything out there. Goes from, well, if White can't do it, then the kid, I got the kid. Now I don't have the kid. And so now it's Dane Jackson. And, what about everybody else on the depth chart? And like you're saying, Rasul Douglas, Stephon Gilmore, is it, time to bring corners in to start working them out? If they get definitive word here at some point, which
it'll be soon,
will happen, right? Then we'll see how they proceed. But it just kind of takes the wind out of the sails to an extent for me on the good job Tre'Davious White is doing so far in camp, because it becomes more of a necessity than a luxury, I guess, if he's playing well and staving off the kid. Because now I need him.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not take it to be much more. I wouldn't, look down on the Bills signing him like it was just about sentimentality. But what the Bills do, I think what good teams do, is before the draft, they shore up their depth. So, hey, we don't know if we're going to get the corner we want in the first round. Every draft, you can't predict it. But we've got somebody here that we can, trust to an extent. They've done that at running back a few times. They didn't do that this year, but other time, Damian Harris or Latavius Murray. Like, well, we don't get what we want at the position. We've still got a couple of guys who've played in the league. You know, they've done that often. Defensive line, they've done a ton of that. Just insurance. And for me, nothing bad about it. Trey White was insurance, and with the added benefit of it being a player that just knew this really well. Like, he wasn't new to it, and they weren't new to him. So that seemed good. Sal has liked Dorian Strong. It would be funny, wouldn't it, if, again, the Bills went corner in rounds 1 and 6, and it's the guy in round 6 that ends up
that wins the
just
job.
like Benford,
right,
as opposed to Elam. I mean, obviously, this is premature, but if Haristen has a torn ACL, we're going to know soon. Brandon Beane was on Sirius this afternoon, and I'm just seeing it from Twitter. He said they're still checking him out. So, like, we don't have good or bad. I guess that's not really good. You know, they'll be
right. That's not all clear. That's like we're waiting to find out how bad it is.
Right, and there's swelling in these, and sometimes like Von Miller. Remember when that happened in Detroit? Immediate reports, or the next day even, were like, yeah, it's not feared to be that serious, and then it was.
Yeah.
Like maybe sometimes, I don't know, but you just don't know right away.
Can't get a good look at it right away. Right.
Maybe. Well, a scary one for them. What about Bishop today? Like, I didn't hear anything.
I just heard he went to the tent and then was on the sideline after that. He didn't return to practice, but he neither went into the locker room. He stayed out there. So I don't know. I'm hoping that that's what I referred to earlier, like David Edwards. Heat. Like, he just got hot, and whatever happens with that, symptomatically, lightheaded, whatever, just went and got checked, and like, okay, you just need to cool it for the rest of the day. Although standing out there in the sunshine is an odd choice after that, but still. I'm hoping, and that is just speculation on my part. I have no idea what happened to him, but I just heard he went to the tent. I didn't see anything specified as to what caused that, which is why, nothing about a collision or he got up gingerly or anything like that has me thinking, hopefully it was just he got hot.
Anybody want him to just shut it down for the next 6 weeks?
No.
AFC, come on, somebody say it. Hey, look at this division, guys. Do they really need to practice for the next 6 weeks? Do they really need to do anything? It'd be, I'm not saying this to be funny, I guess, but it'd be funny if Bosa was the one guy who came out clean. Somebody like, don't even bother putting him in pads until like Christmas. But like your rookie might be down bad here. We'll see. Maybe not. We'll ask Jim Lampley what he thinks about the Bills' defensive back depth, the possible absence of Maxwell Haristen. No, we won't do that. But Jim Lampley is coming on today.
How about that?
I
just saw, I mentioned to you as we were starting, I usually, get the YouTube stream up on my computer screen, and before we start, there's like a placeholder promotional card there, like today on the show, and there's a picture of Jim Lampley holding an HBO microphone and Sal, and Sal's a pretty regular, especially this time of the year, but Jim Lampley there in the photo was just a little surreal to me. Like, really? That's happening?
I mean, if it goes well, let's just keep using his picture.
Right.
I think it could become a new icon of the show, something like that. Well, we've never spoken to him before. He's most famous for boxing, but his career has gone. It's like Al Michaels a little bit when we talked to Al Michaels, who went back to the 60s broadcasting baseball. Lampley goes back to the 70s on ABC with Michaels and Cosell and those guys, and then he kind of did everything. Who was it that told me maybe my wife, they think of him for tennis. And I had to think about that. But, yes, HBO Wimbledon. Remember when Wimbledon was only on HBO? And that was pretty cool, and he was a part of that. So I don't know where we'll go in our conversation with him, but it'll be somewhere interesting. And Sal will join us at 6 today. It'll be later for his perspective on the Haristen injury and whatever else happened today with the Bills. What do you think about this? How nervous are you? How much is riding on this? 803-0550 is the number. We'll look for your calls next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. This is WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. To all choose your timeline with the roller coaster.
And you see it a lot, especially in practice. Some guys go off in practice, then another guy will go off in a different practice, another guy will go off in a different practice, and you would have thought that it would have been someone else's day, but you really don't know. You really don't know how your route is going to affect the play. You don't really know if you're even going to get the ball. You might be the last read and still might get the ball. So, if anything, with this offense, you just have to be ready at all times. Especially with Josh, because he'll throw it to anybody, and he can get it there.
Toronto native Josh Palmer. He has, well, I don't mean this like it's some sort of, it's like a scheme or anything, but he has drunk the Kool-Aid on Everybody Eats. He knows what this is about. No reason to not have thought this way to my mind, but if you were wondering if the Bills were going to be different in that respect this year, there's no sign of it. Now you have their big free agent ad at wide receiver basically describing the philosophy to you, and we know it. We've already lived it.
The offensive coordinator is wearing a hat that says Everybody Eats.
Oh, I need that hat, don't I?
No, you need Everybody Snacks. We need to get you a custom-made Everybody Snacks hat.
Everybody dabbles in food. Here's an amuse-bouche. Can I just have a hat that says amuse-bouche?
You can have anything you want.
I do find it amusing.
The internet is out
sometimes.
there. You can get anything you want.
That's right. If I want a hat that says anything I want, I can get it.
Make it happen.
A T-shirt.
Yeah.
Today I have a T-shirt, by the way, and I wore it on Sunday. But I'd had a load of laundry because going on vacation here, so lest anyone think. But it's going back a few years now. It's kind of faded, but from the National Baseball Hall of Fame, all the men and women who are in, are there women in there would be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and all their names. One would be Ryne Sandberg.
How do you get them added on there?
You have to buy a new shirt.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
You have to make your own shirt.
See, that's how they get you.
Yeah, that's right. In a year, this will be obsolete. It won't be the complete list. Ryne
Sandberg is on that
would
shirt.
be on the shirt,
right.
And he died yesterday. That's another one. There have been a lot of these big celebrity sports and entertainment deaths lately. Sandberg is one. I read that at Cooperstown on the weekend, they were all talking about him being sick.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody was shocked from that community about his death, but I didn't know any of that. And last night, he looked young.
Yeah.
After retirement, he didn't, that I know of, I didn't see him,
right,
out there very often, but that was one that oh, wow. And then I saw he was 65. And that's the illusion of life, I guess, when you get older, is that they're really not that much older than you. But Ryne Sandberg being 65, I might have just sort of instinctively guessed 48, something like that.
When do you stop hearing the ages of people who passed away that are very close to your current age and thinking oh no, that's not, I don't know that I don't like hearing 65 for anyone, Ryne Sandberg or anyone else. But
that's 6.
At 60 years old myself, that just hits a little close to home. Sure.
Yeah, Sandberg.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys now that I watched their whole careers.
Right.
Remember them being rookies, buying their rookie cards, and I brought one in,
which you have with you today. Show it to Twitch. The Twitch.
There it is. The Twitch. I went sideways because of the back. The back is sideways.
Mm-hmm.
All the information. It's a great back, so to speak. Helena, Spartanburg, Reading, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma City. Played for the Phillies 13 games, went 1 for 6, traded. to the Cubs, and he spent, I think, the rest of his career with the Cubs. Sandberg. Joshua Palmer in that clip. What's your latest on Palmer as, like, in terms of, like, production expectations? On Friday, we talked to fantasy analyst Mike Dempsey from Jacksonville, who told us that Palmer is his most owned player. So if you're drafting many drafts like Mike is, and like I am, admittedly, you have exposure lists, players ranked by how many times you've drafted them, how much of an investment you have. And he said Palmer was his number one player in the league.
In the league, not just on the Bills, in
Correct.
the league. Wow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Number one owned player is Joshua Palmer. That's what I think I heard. And I was floored by that. And it made me feel bad about my very limited investment in Joshua Palmer in fantasy. He has more than 39 catches in 4 years in the NFL once. And I'm not trying to bias this. That number was 72.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a big outlier season for the rest of his career. So I mean, it's that you can tap into that. I mean, I suppose. So I don't know. I'm victim. Maybe a lot of people can be like this. You'd like to think that someone who's as grizzled as we are, or myself speaking just for me, like I'm not going to fall for it. But I'm feeling the Keon Coleman, couple of good days of practice. If I were drafting like you're drafting, and Keon Coleman is available in the 8, 9, 10, whatever. I probably, as soon as I feel like it's not way too early, I think I would grab him. I just feel like there is still an opening there, and he's a guy that we just haven't really gotten a full serving of. Now, we don't know anything about what Josh Palmer is like on a team with this quarterback. I mean, we watched him for 4 years on the Chargers with Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert is not Josh Allen, and that team and that offense is not what the Bills have been, although the Bills aren't even starting last year really what they were the previous 4 years with Allen sort of blasting off. They weren't as explosive last year. So I don't know if Palmer augments that and brings some of that back. But Coleman, I just feel like is such an incomplete grade from year one that I'm starting to get intrigued by what he's doing in these practices. And, I know that that's fool's gold, but, whatever. If I had to make a decision right now, I would take Coleman over Palmer myself.
For stats?
Yeah, for fantasy. I mean, if I were trying to pluck a Bills receiver for a fantasy team, I think I would favor Coleman over Palmer right now.
What about Shakir? Shakir is a little bit more expensive than Coleman, who is a little bit more expensive than Palmer.
Yeah.
Who is more expensive than anybody else. Elijah Moore. Anybody else.
I think I might, as much as I like Shakir, and I think you can bank on what he had last year being his floor. I don't know how high the ceiling gets on that. I still feel like Coleman, touchdowns, big plays, I just feel like I might get more out of Coleman from a fantasy perspective.
I agree. I think it's on the Bills to figure out how to make Coleman more important. It's really on them. I don't think anything – I mean, he had an injury, and it can happen to anyone. I don't think anything last year about Keon Coleman from what we were told to expect is really surprising at all. He didn't separate. Well, we kind of were told that. That was not a strength of his in college either. Good contested catch.
There's some good run after catch.
Run after the catch. Like, nothing about, I mean, maybe you'd say different. Nothing about his performance was not what we were led to believe it would look like. He was drafted, and certain people I take my cue from, Matt Harmon is one, like, okay, well, this guy should be your big slot receiver. Well, the Bills don't need that. And then Brandon Beane showed up the next day and said, yeah, he's going to play outside. And he did. And, the season went by, and the same people went, well, he's really not great, like as good as that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be outside. So nothing about good or bad. His season really changed anything for me on him. It's up to the Bills. It's up to Joe Brady and Bean to, if Bean's involved in this, if it would be on him at all at this point, to make him, give him a role where he can do more, where he can do better. And that's, being able to scheme a guy open or use him in ways, if it doesn't come at the detriment of your team. You're not going to do that.
Right, I don't want that either. But yeah, of course, I mean, that needed to be said. No, I want them to do things that could be bad for them. I'm wondering, I saw some reference again today, it's not the first time, from any one of sorry if I don't have the specific names of the people that are saying these things on my Twitter feed, but I mean, it's just, while practice is going on, there's just such an avalanche. And I like following the different people I follow. I get different things from the different people. Anyway, but at a time like when practice is going on, there's like a flood of similarly themed tweets. So I have trouble, who stands out. But that Shakir, it looks to some observers like Shakir, they're trying to use him in different ways. And we heard that when he was first picked, that he's a versatile guy. You can use him out. It doesn't have to just be one or the other. He might look exactly like a replacement for Cole Beasley, which is basically what he has settled into. But if he has outside capabilities, and that's a way that you might be able to spring him and also help spring Coleman. If that can become, I don't want to make this too rudimentary, but somewhat interchangeable, then you're that much better off. That gets Coleman maybe doing something more that is to his strengths. And if it's not to Shakir's detriment, if he can help you out there, there's a matchup out there that you think you can exploit or whatever it is because of his skill set, I think it would behoove the Bills to figure that out if that can work. And it sounds to me like maybe, I don't know about the Coleman part, but I'm reading reference to Shakir just doing maybe more different things than he has since he's been here. And maybe that makes sense. I mean, they did make a big commitment to him, so let's see how much is in there, right? And if that, in turn, can help get Coleman off and running, all the better. I'm all for that.
Ravens injury today, Isaiah Likely, tight end, according to John Harbaugh, rolled his ankle and will be, quote, sidelined a few weeks. So that's week one. Likely was important in the playoff game. And we'll see if the Ravens have him for the opener. How many weeks is it? Have you done the math on this? 6?
I have not.
No, I'm about to.
It's more than a few weeks.
Is it?
I mean,
it's 6 minus 2 days.
Okay.
So it's 5 plus. A rolled ankle, I think he's probably all right. That's going to be my guess on Likely. Yeah. That he takes the preseason off.
A few weeks to me is 3 weeks.
Yeah. It's got to be more than 2.
Right, and in less than 4. Because I think about a month.
Ooh.
Becomes, if you're into 4 weeks, you're about a month. So
what are you, Bill Nye?
I think a few weeks is 3. I settle on 3.
Bill Nye. Like you're mixing chemicals by deducing that. Yeah, all right. Well, the Ravens won't have Isaiah Likely here for a few weeks, apparently. And Bulldog says that is going to be 3. Exactly.
Yes. Mark it down.
Tune in 3 weeks. One of us will be here at least 3 weeks from today.
Oh, we can guarantee that.
Almost.
Yeah, that's right. I think there is one day coming up where neither of us will be here, but whatever. Zach, you're on.
One of the 3 of us will have an update in 3 weeks on Isaiah Likely, maybe. We have Jim Lampley coming up today at 4. Maxwell Haristen went down at Bills practice today, and it seems possible that this is one of those scary non-contact injuries. So we'll let you know, of course, as soon as we hear anything on that. If it's a torn ACL, that they're just going to tell us. That's with Trey White in New Orleans. When they knew on Von Miller, there's no reason to, keep that in private. Hopefully it isn't. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. This is WGR.
on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of
Contest time. Callers 5 and 6 at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947. Each win a pair of grandstand tickets to the NASCAR Cup Series weekend, Friday, August 8th through Sunday the 10th at Watkins Glen International. The Go Bowling at the Glen brings the drivers of the NASCAR Cup Series to battle it out around the historic New York road course. Tickets are on sale for the entire NASCAR weekend at theglen.com. Have you done that?
The Glen? No.
I have once. The day before.
I have been there, but I've not been there when there was a race about to take place or anything. I was not there like a race weekend or even a week before a race. So no.
This was like a hookup thing on the infield the day before the race or the week of the race where everybody was there. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I've never seen either been there for the race. Well, here's a chance.
There it is.
You have the mouse. I keep meaning before we come back
I'm
to
sorry.
get
Do you want me to get Jay up
Sure.
here on the show here? Jay, hi. Good afternoon. You're on WGR. Thanks for calling us.
Oh, no, thanks a lot, guys. One of the things I love about the show is just the unique angles you guys take on things, which is what always brings me back. And talking about Max Haristen real quick, it's interesting. So in my younger days, I was a real hothead, and especially when it came to sports, I only ever really cared about what was, the helmet on the crest, and never thought much about the human being, as terrible as that sounds. But like you, Bulldog, once I became a dad, particularly when I had my first daughter, something inside me changed. And suddenly I started seeing in my sports these players as human beings, right? So one of the things I love about the Buffalo Bills is, and I could be drinking the Kool-Aid on this, but I love the fact that I can sort of call them the Buffalo Bills family. And I see them hopefully, rallying around Max in this injury, however severe it might be. But I think about how he went down and what it might be. And the first thing I thought of was his mom and dad. This guy's, 21, maybe 22. And, I've got kids 18 and 25. And the amount of work that they would have had to put into him, for him and all that kind of stuff to get him there, they must just be gutted. And it doesn't mean his career's over. We don't know. But just thinking about what that was and how you talked about it got me really thinking about how desensitized in some ways things like gambling and even fantasy football have put us towards sports. But I'm glad I've got this kind of open heart for kids like this, because that's kind of what he is, in this injury and what it means. And hopefully he'll get back on the horse and be the best human being and player he can be. And the Bills will work their way around it. But that got me thinking about that, and I love the heart you guys brought to that. So thanks a lot, guys.
Sure thing, Jay. Thanks for noticing it, and appreciate the compliment from the start of your phone call there.
I've been excited, like many, for football to come back.
Mm-hmm.
The Hall of Fame game is in 2 days.
I just saw Trey Lance is going to start.
Trey Lance!
Which is how I found out he's on one of the teams
Chargers.
in the Hall of Fame game.
Yes.
Oh, he's on the Chargers now. Okay. Here we go.
Whatever you can give me, I'll take it.
Right.
But that today, I was thinking about how, like, if you want football back, that means you have to get ready for third down. Can't wait for that. That's so important. What a crowd pleaser. Can't wait for that. I do want football back on balance.
Oh yeah, but all the stuff.
Who cares? We know.
Right.
Pipe in the sound. Just pipe the sound in if you have to pipe the sound in, rather than pretend that people are going to get aroused by that. Just anyway, I'm mostly positive.
There's always room to be annoyed.
There's
with
always stuff.
There's always stuff.
Always stuff.
There's stuff.
Well, ask Jim Lampley about what he thinks of PA announcers screaming at fans. Probably not. May not get to it. But he's coming up next after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. 1,000 people are watching it at one time. 8 people have clicked the like button. And that's offensive. In that community, no. Just please go out of your way, if you must, and just click on the thumbs up. Do we have the thumbs up? We do. Yeah, all right. Please click the like button.
Yeah.
It helps to grow. I believe it helps to grow the program.
Does it tell
the algorithms like it when you get more likes?
Does it reveal the identity of the person clicking the like?
Not on YouTube.
Okay, I'm going to click it then.
Less than great day for the Bills at training camp today in terms of injuries. First-round rookie corner Max Haristen left practice early with what appeared to be a knee injury. Fellow corner Dane Jackson spoke with the media after practice and said it appeared to be a non-contact injury. But as of now, no word on the severity. Safety Cole Bishop also left practice early, but was able to return and stand off to the sidelines. Bills will have off tomorrow, and for more on today, do stay tuned. Sal Capaccio will join the show at 6, and Sal also has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And a reminder that coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Other injury notes around the league. Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely expected now to be down a few weeks after rolling his ankle today at practice. Patriots corner Christian Gonzalez also expected to be out a few weeks. He is dealing with a hamstring. And the Cowboys, they lose corner Kalen Carson 4 to 6 weeks with a hyperextended knee. While in baseball, Blue Jays have a doubleheader today against the Orioles, but they drop game 1. The Yankees host the Rays just after 7, and the Mets, they are out west versus the Padres. That game is expected to get going just after 9:40. While the Bisons, they are also in action. They host Syracuse a little after 6:30. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I thought almost you weren't going to make it back for this. You cut it close.
I wouldn't miss it.
I know you wouldn't miss it, but you cut it close.
There was a person working in the office. So I stopped the chat. There was a singular person working where there used to be 40 people working. But
Has the show ever sounded older?
There was someone working, so I stopped to chat.
Bulldog stopping to chat during a break and almost missing the beginning of Jim Lampley. Well, this is a tremendous thrill and honor. Jim Lampley with us now, simply one of the best and most accomplished sports announcers ever. Career spanned decades. He's covered about as many sports as you can probably name. Jim, Mike, and Chris here. We are so thrilled to have you.
Thank you very much, Mike and Chris. Pleasure to be with you, and thanks for that laudatory intro.
I'm very trying to be just as good as I can be with the words with you. I've been watching clips, you with Rich Eisen a while ago, and just different interviews you've done, and I always did admire your work, but I've come to even on a higher level appreciate how studious you are about what you're saying. And I also want, while I'm here just praising you, I want to say too, I think a lot of announcers miss it when it comes to just simply the volume. But I always thought with you, like you must have cared about it, that you never wanted to like sort of be screaming at us or, even in a excited way. So anyway, I'm a fan.
I think it's possible to express excitement and admiration for what you are watching without having to scream and yell. I've always put my efforts into finding the right words to describe what I'm seeing and to be respectful of the audience's right and privilege of responding to it emotionally in their own way. So at the most emotional moments and the most high-impact moments I've ever covered, I tried to be understated. The best example being Mike Tyson has been knocked out in Tokyo, February 10, 1990, when Buster Douglas produced what everybody thought was an absolutely unintelligible miracle. So I bank on my ability to describe via words and phrases that are intelligent, thoughtful, and understated enough to leave room for the audience to develop its own emotional response.
So when you found out two radio guys from Buffalo, New York wanted to talk to you, what was your first thought? Like, what did you think of when you were presented with Buffalo?
How cold I was when I did the hosting segments for NFL Live one day there in your stadium for what I believe was a December regular season game. It might have been a late November regular season game. And it was an experience to wear something in the way of an acceptable on-camera outfit and not outfit myself in a bear pelt or something to manage that particular cold experience. So that and just, the long, glorious history of the Buffalo Bills and the fact that an old friend of mine, Robert McAdoo from the University of North Carolina, I believe played in Buffalo with the Buffalo Braves for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
He sure did.
Yeah, for a little while. People here, Jim, are fond of saying for a moment in time we had the three best players in three North American team sports, O.J., McAdoo, and Gilbert Perreault on the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, you know that O.J. was a dear friend of mine. You probably know, of my long history with him. And obviously that's been a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. If you're close to him emotionally, as I was, then you ultimately had to accommodate some extremely difficult truths. And I managed to do that, but it wasn't easy.
If I remember correctly, yourself or others from NBC, so 1993, I'm thinking here, when the Bills are en route to their fourth straight AFC title, you guys might have been set up, Mike Ditka, and maybe the fans were hot. Joe Gibbs, maybe the fans were hostile, like in the end zone or something. Does that ring a bell?
If you're talking about the Super Bowl in Pasadena,
okay.
I don't have any memory of anything like that.
Okay.
I had good experiences hosting the Super Bowl. The Pasadena game, I was on the field, so I was kind of accessible to fans. And the following year was Atlanta, and the game in Atlanta was the backdrop for one of my most interesting experiences with OJ, because we got marooned in Atlanta. Everybody else, Inberg, Trumpy, the rest of the telecast crew, were able to leave and go back to the West Coast. OJ and I didn't have access to a plane for that. So we wound up going back to the Ritz-Carlton in Buckhead together and hooked up with some people from Kevin Costner's movie crew. He was shooting The Postman at that time. For some reason, there were scenes being shot in Atlanta. And OJ and I spent a few hours riding around that night looking for a place to dance in a southern city that was still part of the Bible Belt, even in 1994. And ultimately, we went back to the hotel, and that was the last time I was with him prior to the next kaleidoscopic event in his life.
So no dancing, as it turns out. You were unsuccessful, even the night of the Super Bowl.
There was no place available to dance late on Sunday night in Atlanta.
Unfortunate.
Well,
I kind of warned him that would be the case.
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure.
Well, I don't know how familiar you are with what happened with the Bills and to the fan base in the years in between. There were a couple of death rattle years there where they were still a playoff team but no longer a Super Bowl caliber team. And then there was a playoff drought, Jim, but they're back now. And I wonder if that trips any wires for you to have the Bills back in the American consciousness in the way that they are now, like they were when you were working with NBC.
Josh Allen is one of the most exciting and heart-stopping players in the NFL. I think that his presence alone is enough to bring the franchise back to front-page status and make the Bills relevant in Super Bowl talk again. And I think they will be every year that Josh Allen stays on the roster and plays. He's an amazing player, extremely resourceful, appears to be – I haven't met him, but he appears to be a really high-quality leader and team motivator, et cetera. And, I think that it's fun now to watch the Bills because you know that with Josh Allen, they can beat anybody.
With Jim Lampley, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here on WGR. Jim, you also would have been in Buffalo for Joe Macy, one HBO night. I know you and Emmanuel Stewart were here talking about him, his fight with Darrell Williamson. Always been amused by the nickname Touch of Sleep. That's one of the great nicknames. Do you remember the ride with Macy? Buffalo got very into him, and it seemed for a minute like he was a serious, candidate to, win big. Then he had an eye injury, right, Bulldog? And wasn't it? Or a brain injury.
Brain injury, yeah.
And his career was slowed by that. But do you have memories of him or your visit here to cover him?
Well, going back to my days of watching Gillette Friday Night Fights in the 50s as a kid when I was locked in every Friday night and watching, I was well aware that upstate New York has a long and glorious history in the sport of boxing. And now, of course, I go almost every year to the International Boxing Hall of Fame induction ceremonies in Canastota, where you worship at the altar of Carmen Basilio and some of the other meaningful fighters who came from upstate New York. So when I was covering Macy, I was very conscious of putting him in the context of the whole upstate New York boxing history and the presence of the Hall of Fame and all that stuff. As it turned out, his moment near or at the top of the heavyweight division, I would say near the top of the heavyweight division, his moment was relatively brief. And I think he was good, but I'm not sure that he had the skills to compete at the highest level. I don't remember what Emmanuel said about him when we were there, but whatever it was, it had to be highly credible because, as you may know, probably know, Emmanuel Stewart's record in heavyweight championship fights was 34-2-1. Nobody else in history can match what Emmanuel did in the heavyweight division. And he isn't remembered nearly as much for that as he is for a welterweight who turned middleweight, Tommy Hearns.
Okay. In terms of those broadcasts of those many years, I mean, you became the voice of boxing really with Stewart, with George Foreman, Larry Merchant. I will tell you, I certainly wasn't knowledgeable about, the different divisions and the rankings and everything, but a great broadcast is a great broadcast. And in a period of those years, I wouldn't miss those Saturday nights. I just thought you guys were the perfect sort of chemistry and balance, and it was funny too. Like all you Merchant, hilarious, Foreman, of course, the late George Foreman. So I think those broadcasts stand out as among the best in sports broadcasting history.
Very complimentary, and I appreciate it. We had great expert commentators. At the beginning, it was Ray Leonard, and then eventually Ray Leonard was followed by George Foreman, and then George Foreman was ultimately followed by Emmanuel Stewart, and then Roy Jones, and every one of them slightly different from the predecessor, but brought something meaningful. There's a television writer, don't know if he's still there, at the New York Daily News named Bob Raceman, wrote a sports television column in the New York Daily News, very prominent in the 90s and onward. And there was a moment in time when Raceman wrote in the Daily News that Lampley, Merchant, Foreman was the greatest three-man team in the history of sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
Now think about that.
Yeah.
Gifford Meredith and Cosell, they got a great deal more public response and publicity, et cetera. So for Raceman in the New York Daily News to say that we were the greatest three-man team in the history of sports broadcasting was quite a distinctive observation. And I always love to be complimented. Anybody who says they don't is lying. And I love the fact that you feel as though you may have gathered some boxing information and awareness from me, because that was what I was all about, was trying to explain the sport and set up the drama and stories that people like Larry and George and Roy and Emmanuel could then elaborate further on.
I'd have to cop to agreeing that everybody likes to be complimented. How do you think this is going so far, by the way?
Oh, you guys are great. With clearly the greatest interviewers ever.
Oh, you're too nice. Jim, do you share that view? I mean, not to say that you were part of the greatest crew ever, but is that what stands out to you the most? I mean, you've had an amazing and varied career. Is that boxing crew with Larry Merchant and George Foreman that was referenced that way in the Daily News what you feel is like the best thing you ever did?
Well, I went to 14 Olympics, more than any other American sports television broadcaster, according to what I am told. I don't count and keep the records, but, I did have the privilege of going to 14 Olympics, and I did some very memorable things there. It's pretty hard, going back to Western New York State, it's pretty hard to find any moment that exceeds being a part of the Miracle on Ice. And obviously, Al Michaels called the game, and Al Michaels created the imprint with that "Do you believe in miracles" line, which was brilliant. And Al is, in my view, the greatest conventional sports play-by-play man ever. But I was the one who got to Mike Eruzione and Jim Craig after the game and did a memorable interview with them on Main Street of Lake Placid as we were going off the air that night. And in order to get that interview, I had to leave other work behind in the broadcast center and go join the game at the beginning of the second period and stand on a camera platform where I wasn't supposed to be. So that's just such a delicious memory. And so, totally enclosed in its own envelope, because nothing else could ever match it before or since in terms of the improbability of what went on. There was no way, no possible logical way that team of college players and semi-pros and ragamuffins could beat the Soviet machine, which had won every international hockey competition for the preceding 10 years. But they did. And it's part of the title of my book. It happened. You can't really conjure how or why it happened, but it happened.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to visit Lake Placid since then? Because I've been many times.
I went back to Lake Placid one time after those Olympics, and that was the following year when I went on a private plane with Herb Brooks to go into the arena and stand there and do a recap interview, a discussion about the Miracle on Ice 1 calendar year later. And I'll never forget it because there was nobody in the plane but a 2-man crew and Brooks and me. And on the flight back to New York City from Lake Placid, we wound up in a massive storm. The plane was being tossed around in the air. And Brooks and I were literally speculating on which paragraph I would be in when the story on the front page of the New York Times the following day detailed the death of Herb Brooks in a private plane crash. I was figuring I maybe get paragraph 6 or something like that.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, just quickly, I've been there many times with my family. It's, about 5 hours from here, and the thing that always stands out to me is I don't know if this would have been noticeable just a year after the Olympics. What the Olympics have become, it's incredible to walk down Main Street and just imagine that the Olympics took place in that town. It's incredible.
It was the most, look, if it had not happened in 1932, if you did not have that piece of history, if it weren't for the fact that there was at that moment no other major ski resort in America that had a ski jump, and Lake Placid still had the ski jumps, et cetera. But it should not have happened. It was an unmanageable environment. The local organizing committee was inept. In a lot of ways, those Olympics were a disaster, but the Miracle on Ice redeemed them, completely redeemed them, and painted them in a positive light, which will last forever.
Yeah, now it's more trivia to think of other Winter Olympic cities.
Well, nobody remembers, hundreds of people standing in remote parking lots in freezing and sub-freezing weather, waiting for buses that didn't show up, or getting onto the buses with tickets that weren't really the right tickets to get them in. There were so many things that went wrong with the local organizing committee. It was a disaster. Mm-hmm. And then on Thursday night and Sunday night of the second weekend, you got the Miracle on Ice, and then they beat Finland to win the gold medal. One of the most unexpected gold medals ever for the United States Olympic team.
On a Sunday afternoon. We've talked to Al Michaels a few times. He's been gracious enough to join us, and I have loved asking him about that. And Ken Dryden, he and Dryden do the game, and I just love Dryden's maybe his first line in the setup to the game, where it's one thing to be young and promising, but it's quite another to be good. And I just think that was profound.
Ken Dryden was a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Who, it was only a total sideline for him to do expert commentary, but he was a brilliant guy with a brilliant law career.
Yeah.
And he and Michaels made a fantastic team for calling the game. And I got 5 or 6 minutes of involvement, which have lasted for a long, long time.
Yeah, Dryden, not exactly conventional. He's standing there with his arms folded and a turtleneck. They both were wearing these light blue turtlenecks to the open of that game. Well, Jim, admittedly, this came together pretty quickly. I'm not all the way through your memoir. It happened. I love the story of your childhood and your mother. I'm a father in a multiracial home, and I just think the message you convey about her and what she meant to you and the lessons she taught you are just amazing, considering the environment you were in. And I just wanted to make sure that was mentioned in our conversation, because I thought that was really special.
My mother was a cosmic woman, a poor Irish girl from Memphis who somehow got it in her head that the most important things to teach to her 2 sons were anti-racism and resistance to discrimination against other people. She was the fulcrum of my sports television career, because one thing I often say is that I started in 1974 at ABC Sports. I lasted until 2018 on HBO. I don't see how anybody could have constructed and maintained a career as a national television sportscaster in that period of time if he were a racist. It couldn't happen. You had to be anti-racist to get it in the sports environment of the 70s, 80s, 90s, teens, and 20s in the United States. So she gave me a gift that helped to sustain my career all the way through.
Very good. Jim, this has been a great thrill. I don't mean this to sound obnoxious. I hope it doesn't come across that way. Do you have any questions for us?
How cold is it in Buffalo today?
90.
Not.
90. I think
I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which sounds like kind of a cool place, but it's 98 degrees with 91% humidity. It's insufferable. And it's getting a little worse every year, but that's another discussion.
Well, thank you to Fred and Abe who helped bring this together, and my guy Kyle, who I just met randomly 10 days ago. And he's like, I know a guy. Just we struck up a conversation.
Knows a guy, right?
And I'm really glad this happened. So very much appreciate your time. And would you
enjoy the rest of the book?
Yes.
I think that there are some things toward the end that you're really going to like. And, I tried to make as much of the book as possible, other than that part, which is about my mother and my grandmother. I tried to make as much of it as possible about the evolution of sports television, the changes I saw, and the changes of which I was a part, like ultra-endurance sports. So I hope you enjoy the rest, and thank you very, very much for the opportunity to talk about It Happened and to talk about my lucky life.
I'm especially excited for the Cosell and Me chapter, by the way, which is coming up. Always interested in him.
Well, I had the privilege of very close contact with him for a while.
Yeah.
So have fun.
Well, one last thing. We were both delighted to learn you were the first host on WFAN when sports radio launched. I learned that today. I did not know that. That radio station is how I got into this, and I'm 30 years in. So, good job.
July 2, 1987, I put WFAN on the air. I was the first talk show host. There was a news insert prior to me coming on the air, and then I came on the air. And on that first day, I recited a manifesto I had written the night before, kind of a forecast as to what would happen as the result of this new medium. And I remember some of the things that I said, like, Rory from Queens or Brooklyn will make trades for the Nets. And franchises will move to other cities because of the feedback they get from talk radio, et cetera. And at the end of the day, it all happened. Everything I said would happen. There will be 3 of these stations in Salt Lake City doing all jazz all day, 24 hours of jazz. That happened. So it was a stunning piece of experience in my life to make up this whimsical idea of what could happen because of sports talk radio and then watch it happen.
Utah Jazz. There might not be a single jazz music station in Salt Lake, right? I mean, that was your prediction.
No jazz music station, just jazz talk all the time, 24 hours. By the way, that happens in every market. Yep. There was a moment when there were 3 sports talk radio stations in Los Angeles, and they were all Kobe all the time, 24 hours a day of Kobe talk.
Yeah, no, we can relate. So very good. Thanks again, Jim. It Happened. Is there a best way for people to get the book?
Your website? Statistic I heard last week from the publisher was that it was, at least for a minute or two, the number 1 selling audiobook in the country.
All right.
I am the voice of the audiobook. But if you go to Amazon or Kindle, it's not hard to find It Happened, and it's available in 3 different iterations, and have fun. It's a fun book.
I'm sure. Thanks again, Jim. What a pleasure.
My privilege. Great to talk to you.
Thank you. Jim Lampley. It Happened is his call when Foreman beats Michael Moorer.
Right, the comeback, right?
Win the heavyweight title at 46 or whatever he was. Also, it's like right on point. All right, super cool. Thank you to everybody who helped bring us Jim Lampley. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. We'll be back after sports. This is WGR.
Bills through 6 days of camp, and it continued on today. First-round rookie corner Max Haristen left practice early with what appeared to be a knee injury. Fellow corner Dane Jackson, speaking with the media after practice, said it appeared to be a non-contact injury. No word yet on the severity. Well, safety Cole Bishop also left practice early, but was able to return and stand off to the sidelines. The Bills will have off tomorrow, and we'll get more on today. Sal Capaccio joins the show at 6 p.m., and Sal also has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Some other injury notes. Cornerback has been one of the main fixtures today. Patriots corner Christian Gonzalez dealing with a hamstring injury. He is expected to miss a number of weeks, but his overall availability for week 1 does not appear to be in danger. The Cowboys lose Kalen Carson 4 to 6 weeks with a hyperextended knee. And Browns, Martin Emerson Jr. suffered a left Achilles injury. He's going to undergo an MRI tomorrow to determine the extent, but all signs point to it being a bad injury for him. And then in baseball, Blue Jays dropped Game 1 of a doubleheader to the Orioles 16-4. Game 2 expected to get underway just after 6:30, and also going off at 6:30. The Bisons in action. They host Syracuse, and that game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I feel like every year you got to take a step, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like no matter how good you do, it's going to always be like, all right, take that next step, like get better. There's always a lot of things to work on because no player is perfect, you know what I mean? So, I mean, for me, it's every part of my game. It's the run game, it's pass rushing, it's me being just locked into my assignment, it's my pad level, my hand placement, this, that, and the third is kind of everything, and just keep on getting better at everything.
Gregory Rousseau. The Bills practiced today. They may have lost Max Haristen. We're still waiting to find out just how severe his apparent knee injury was. We may get news on that soon or not. They don't practice tomorrow. We will talk to Sal at 6 today and see what he knows. 803-0550 is the number. When this happens, is there anything you can do? Like, here's Rousseau, like all players would, talking about the value of these practices. I mean, nobody says different. I wonder if they all really mean it. There could be, I don't want to say there has to be, some, especially when this happens, actually, some percentage of Bills players will be like, let's just start. Can we just get to week 1? Can we just not have to go through? Haristen seems like it was a pretty random thing. Like, he wasn't hit or anything like that. He's just running around. I don't know. Like, they're never going to just not have training camp.
No.
But it seems like such a waste.
And they have really cut back on how physical it is, what they're even asking guys to do. But that's the thing about it. The thing about any sport, any performance, really. Like, you can get hurt doing anything. You don't need to be involved in the heavy, violent stuff that we know is certainly contained and makes up a lot of football's appeal. These practices are as careful as I think they've ever been. I was even surprised today. Like, I knew they were, we knew ahead of time they were having the off day on Saturday, going to back to it Sunday, and that Monday was going to be pads. When I found out they were wearing pads again today, I was surprised. Like, 2 days in a row in pads. I didn't, I don't know the rules, but I was surprised because I didn't think you would even do that. But here we are. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know that there aren't guys who think, like, man, I could use a little less of this, but I think football players largely are creatures of habit. I think a lot of athletes are, like, routine, and a part of the routine of being a football player is going and doing this and just being with your teammates and just getting ready for the season and feeling good. And, it's awful and even devastating when important guys on the team get hurt. Any guys get hurt on the team. It affects the team. They all feel it. But I think it's just, the cost of doing business. They're playing football for a living.
I guess. Was Ty Johnson today. Took a hit. That wasn't a random thing, but he took a hit from Andreessen.
Yeah.
And might have hurt his ankle.
Yeah, I didn't hear. There was late in practice, so I don't know. I haven't heard any details on that.
I guess maybe the first thing we are likely to get would be like we had yesterday when the Bills announce or it's reported that they're bringing in other players at these positions. Like at wide receiver, they're so thin already that they're adding guys from the street to help practice come off, Willie Snead.
They even added those guys. They worked out Willie Snead and they worked out Justin Rose. Justin Ross, thank you.
Although Justin Rose is not a bad idea. That guy's done some winning.
They did sign Deion Kane, though, yesterday to supplement. That's another receiver that he actually was signed. He's been in and out of here a couple different times, I think. Yeah. Sure. There might be corners traveling right now or already in Rochester, ready to work out for the Bills this afternoon, for all we know.
What is Douglas as an idea if they're down Haristen?
Desperate, I think. It's not. You mentioned Gilmore, and I know we're further away from Gilmore being a part of the Bills, and so I can't. I didn't watch him recently, right, to tell you what kind of form his game is in. Douglas, I just feel like is maybe finished. It's not a good idea to me. I might just as soon roll with the 6th-round rookie and Dane Jackson and Trey White.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to. Now, they probably will want a body, but I don't think Douglas is exactly that. I think that's a guy you sign and he expects to be on the field to some extent. And I don't know that I don't think I'm there. To me, I'm more excited about Trey White than I would be about Rasul Douglas. And I don't know that at the time that White signed, I would have said the same thing. But I'm sort of buying the White, rehabilitation story, that he's healthy for the first time and didn't have to work an off-season rehabilitating an Achilles on the heels of having rehabilitated an ACL. He's just worked out and trained to be in good shape instead of having to focus on repairing a single part of his body. So I'm sort of excited about that storyline, and I don't think Douglas would come in ahead of him right now.
Maybe it's time for me to really dig in on what he is at this point, Trey White. I mean, I have it's gone kind of right through one ear out the other with this for me, because I think it was, like I said yesterday, I think it makes sense for the Bills to have done this, but I feel like it was probably only for insurance, for mentorship, but also like if we can't draft the player we want or he doesn't turn out, then we have somebody that we know what we're getting.
And then if we do get the guy we want, we're not just handing him the job. He's going to have to beat out someone that, we have experience with and that we know is a certain level of good. And I don't know, I don't want to say we're not going to ever find that out because we don't know yet how seriously Haristen's hurt, but I think White was through 5 practices was winning if there's a competition, I think he was winning it. But that doesn't mean that that couldn't have changed once we got to preseason games or something. And maybe it still will. We'll see how seriously he's hurt. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I think I interrupted.
No, it's just it's a big question right now, like what he's got.
Yep.
He's 30. Big injuries, like you mentioned. His last interception comes before that Dolphins game when he tore his Achilles. That would be the week before in Washington. So, I mean, mixed at best last year. The Rams tried it, cut him, and then Baltimore, and he ends up playing in the playoffs here for the Ravens. But there certainly aren't really any stats, and he's playing a limited role for that team. So I don't know. I certainly can believe that there's a player still left in there with him, but it might be an underdog bet given where he's at physically, his age, and everything else. And the Bills' actions, if Haristen is going to miss time, the Bills' actions will tell us what they think. I mean, if they don't do anything in the way of a roster move, it'll be him, Dorian Strong. Sal said good things about him, 6th-round pick, and other guys we've talked about here and there in the secondary. But I think I kind of not see today a roster move, because that would be a bad sign for Haristen, at least. 803-0550 to comment. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We'll be right back. This is WGR. our show or in the morning, check out the Odyssey app. Rewind is what you want there. Often, if you're on Twitter, you'll see clips that are posted by our video team of, a minute or two long snippets. This morning, for instance, Bobby Babich sat with Jeremy and Joe out at Fisher. Owen puts those up, your son?
For the morning show, yeah. G does it for our show. Yep.
I'm always sort of intrigued by the morning show clips. It's not even the clip, it's just like how it looks when it comes on your feed there before you push play. Because Jeremy and Joe are always appearing to be in this very contemplative state. Like today, for example, if you go to the post with Babich, probably it's because they're not talking and Babich is. Mm-hmm. Like that's the point of it. But you have sort of Jeremy has got his head tilted. He often has this face when you see these. He's got his head tilted, his mouth closed, his golf hat on, and he's staring out into the wilderness. What's he thinking about? He's listening, you would think, but he's also got this expression of contemplative. What he's got big thoughts going on right there. And then there's Joe, who sometimes will be looking in Jeremy's direction or away, like today, sort of looking straight. Also, no expression on his face at all. Just sitting there. He's got his golf hat. He's sitting there. He's listening to Bobby Babich, presumably. And he's like, and that's how most of those clips start. That's
a lot of it. I mean, you don't look at the feed while we're doing it, right?
No,
right.
I could.
I have it open. I don't stare at it, but I pop in every now and then, just to make sure I don't have a piece of tuna salad in my mustache or something, whatever. And if during a segment you're talking, I look at myself and I just think I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing to be done. There's no animation. I'm just sitting here.
I think almost every one of those morning show ones.
I don't know if I look mad or not, but
the two of them just look like they're staring into space.
I don't feel mad. I know that, but I think I probably look like I'm just daydreaming.
You get what you get when it comes to that first image. Maybe you're like mid-sentence and your mouth is like.
Right.
This morning, ADP chasing, this was the worst timing for me because my Wi-Fi isn't the best. And today I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this from home. No one else is in the house. I feel like it's logical to think I have a better chance of not having any interruptions if no one else is in the house.
Sure.
I'm not sure that that's actually correct, but makes sense to me. So everybody gets on, three of us do, one guy's late, and I'm ready to go. I've got a little bit written. The so-called cold open. And fourth guy, Jacob, shows up. It's like 5 after, like, let's go. And I go through the whole thing, only to learn, I noticed this when it ends, that I'm not online anymore. And so it takes a couple minutes for the internet to come back, and then I have to reconnect and everything like this. And I'm all embarrassed. The show has just started. I'm the front man. I'm the one who tells you what's coming on this show and what we're doing.
And your stuff's not working.
As soon as they tell me as soon as I start, I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. What happened? And they're like, yeah, it went like this. Welcome to ADP chasing. And I had this contorted, stuck face. That what can you do? But some of these, you see a lot of these now, and sometimes the person is in the middle of talking, and their face looks really like a Sam Monson or somebody. Their face looks funny because they're just. But with Jeremy and Joe, they're always like just dead. I mean, you can't read them. They're not talking, and you can't read them.
I got one of those from you were not here for trade deadline day. And late in, like maybe after the deadline had passed, suddenly there was a Brad Marchand is traded from Boston to Florida. And I don't know who grabbed it. I think Sal maybe was a part of this. But there's like the look on my face when I hear about Marchand. I don't know if you maybe even seen. I saved I saved the photo. I mean It is, and it's not because I'm in the middle of talking. It's because my mind just got blown by the fact that Brad Marchand got traded from Boston to Florida, and my mouth is all crooked, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's just like a cartoon.
That's how it is now.
Yeah.
Got to live with it.
Yeah. If you want to go back into old shows, you could go back into, what day were we talking about our favorite baseball hats? Caps. Was that Friday?
I think so, because it
Friday.
was Throwback Hat Weekend.
Yeah, that's right. I went from right here to my favorite bar and ordered this hat that I'm wearing today.
Okay, it's new.
This is a new Orioles. Yeah, I told a story about
Orioles.
having one like this, but it wasn't flat brimmed and it was not fitted, and it was Owens. He was a little kid and he got it signed. Autographed by Boog Powell. We left it in the hotel in Baltimore before we came home. But I mentioned that hat, and I went to the bar, and I was thinking about, I really like that hat. Well, whatever. Let me just go order the hat. So I ordered the hat, and it showed up, and now I have this hat, and I like it a lot.
Orioles. Figures.
What the hell? What is
the Blue Jays walk? Not you.
Oh, yeah.
The Blue Jays walk in, and now the Orioles score 50 runs in 4 games.
Yeah,
literally, that's where they're at. They play again tonight.
Bad timing with the Orioles.
Bad timing.
But, yeah, I like the hat.
It's had the makings of it. It's a dangerous lineup, Baltimore, but they've had a miserable season. They can't pitch, and Toronto's been running so hot. Like, okay. The Blue Jays get to a 6.5 game lead over the Yankees. They can't lose. And I don't know. I don't mean to be cynical or anything. I'm a bandwagon fan, but you just know with a team like that, if they lose like 3 in a row, it's gonna be like, what's wrong with the Blue Jays? Where they were really not supposed to be great. They had the best record in baseball going into Sunday, I think, or even Monday, but they lost bad last night and then also earlier today. Lauer, who pitched a great game in Detroit with his busted lip the other night, pitches for them in the second game today against Baltimore. In Baltimore. Well, we are bracing for news on Bills' first-round pick, Maxwell Haristen. What does it mean if they don't have him? And we don't know if they'll have him, but is it a huge loss if they don't? 803-0550 for your takes. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog will be back with ours. This is WGR.
We've got a trade in the middle of a doubleheader. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But first up, the Bills, who had more injuries pile up. It's been a big storyline through the first 6 days of camp today. First-round rookie Max Haristen leaving practice early with what appeared to be a knee injury. Fellow corner Dane Jackson spoke to the media after and said it appeared to be a non-contact injury, though up to this point, no word yet on the severity. Cole Bishop also left practice early, but was able to return and stand on the sidelines. The Bills are going to have off tomorrow, but we'll get more on today. Sal Capaccio joins the show at 6, and Sal also has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. A reminder that coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Some other injury notes around the NFL. A bad day for cornerbacks. Patriots, Christian Gonzalez dealing with a hamstring issue. He is going to miss a number of weeks, though. His availability for week 1 does not appear to be in jeopardy. Cowboys lose Kalen Carson 4 to 6 weeks with a hyperextended knee. And then Browns, Martin Emerson Jr. left Achilles injury. He's going to undergo an MRI tomorrow to determine the extent, but all signs point to it not being a good injury for him. Then in baseball, the Blue Jays dropped Game 1 of a doubleheader to the Orioles, 16-4. Game 2 expected to get underway just after 6:30. But to that trade, Blue Jays, they acquire reliever Sir Anthony Dominguez for a pitching prospect going the other way to Baltimore. Also in action today, Yankees host the Rays just after 7, while the Mets, they are out west versus the Padres just after 9:40. And then the Bisons are also in action. They host Syracuse, also just after 6:30. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think that's a very good attitude.
It's Mike Schopp.
You don't think? You don't think? I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box. You know who you're talking to.
It's the Bulldog.
I'm talking to the juice box guy. You're crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty. Why don't you go to hell? No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box? I'm no juice box boy, I'll tell you that. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you
It's
are.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Before we get rolling again, let's run another contest. Callers 5 and 6 now at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947. Each win a pair of tickets to the Bisons game on Saturday at 6:35, this Saturday, August 2nd, celebrating women in sports, plus a post-game drone show. Oh, love a drone show.
All right.
Visit MILB.com for tickets. That's short for minor league baseball. MILB.com. If you don't win. If you do win,
you've got tickets.
You're all set. Yeah, you're all set.
Yep. Go to the game. Enjoy
Just
the game.
go to the game at that point.
Yep.
I don't think you have to leave now.
No, you got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Saturday at 6:35 is this game. This coming Saturday. Let's go to Adam here. Hi, Adam.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. So I had a quick question and then I got a comment. So my question is it usually typically bad if we don't hear back on an injury like this? Because I know he got hurt earlier, Maxwell Harrison. Is it bad that we haven't heard? And then my comment is, you never want to see a player get injured, and obviously with it being our first-round pick, you don't love that. But with the cornerback depth we have, Dane Jackson, Tre'Davious White's had a great camp, Dorian Strong's got a great camp, and, Bean's known for taking starting corners in the 6th round. So I have faith in Bean that, maybe Dorian Strong turns out to be a Christian Benford 2.0. So thanks, guys. I'll listen to your response.
Okay. I known for taking guys. He hit on Christian Benford, so he's got a 6th-round corner in his hip pocket, and now he's known for it. Okay. I also don't feel like I'm excited about the Tre'Davious White storyline. I don't know if it's real yet, but it's gotten my attention this year. But that said, there's no minimizing. I mean, they felt they needed this type of player, let's not forget what his skill set is, the speed. He's supposed to be something they've not really had back there, and so I think, there's no sugarcoating it being a big loss. I mean, everybody's going to have depth, but they drafted this guy hoping he could win the job. I think that's why they did it. So not unlike Elam 3 years ago or 4 years ago when, your first round pick, like, okay, I've got Benford here to buffer that, but really I got nothing out of a first round pick. And, we're far from getting nothing out of Haristen. It could be, if it's really bad news, a lost year. And then he comes back next year and hopefully isn't too hindered by the injury if it is that severe. And he just goes on and has a career. But I don't know. I can't get to, I'm not worried at all about the injury. I think if Dane Jackson has to play, I might be really worried. And maybe I should be worried if Trey White has to play. But for now, I'm buying he's, healthier than he's been in a long time, and hopefully that can sustain itself. The initial question was what? Is it a bad? I don't know what to make of not hearing anything.
That could go either way.
Yeah, I really don't. So I'm not going to guess on what that could mean.
When Von Miller hurt his knee, the early reports were that it was not that serious, and then that changed to torn ACL. If they know it's torn, there's no reason to hold it back. You'll maybe hear first that they'll bring somebody else in, perhaps. So I don't know that there's really a sign that's worth looking for. If much love and respect for Trey White. I mean, he's been a lot of fun, and he's been really good. And when you're trading out from a draft pick that's used on Patrick Mahomes, thank goodness they got a player with Kansas City's pick in that trade that they could really hold up. I mean, Trey White has been excellent for them. That helps at least. And, of course, you get Allen the next year, and that helps even more. But it's always been great to think about him. Trading down. I love trading down. I trade down, and they pick Patrick Mahomes, and I'm still, not hating what they got, to say the least. But if you told me last year, especially as the season started, that he was going to be a starter for them in week 1 in 2025, I'd have been like, why? How would that have happened? Now, if he's needed this, and it's not, crazy to think that he has, this time to get to a much better place physically, where he's closer to the old player, then okay. And maybe he'll get a chance to show us. But no way would you have told me when he was playing for the Rams, you think you're watching the end of his career because he's had the big injuries and it's not going well with the Rams. They cut him. Is that it? I never felt, as much as we've liked the guy personally as fans, I've never felt that the Bills missed him, when he was playing for L.A. or even Baltimore.
No, they got
last
out.
year.
I think they got out at a good time.
It was,
as it turns out. Hopefully they got back in at a good time.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a sad thing that he got hurt like he did and then ended up being released. But, I mean, you didn't want him back to be a week 1 starter. I mean, what would it have to have happened? I don't know what'll happen here. They could, and it starts with what you really know from the inside on what he looks like and how that feels. And we wouldn't really know that. I mean, to say guys have had great camps, it's still not even a week. We're talking about 5 practices, 3 in shorts. What's a great camp? He's made a few plays and the media tweet about it. That's not a lot. So what their judgment on what he is physically is huge if they lose Haristen. Even if Haristen is fine, it still could have been that Trey White would start the season as a starter. That might have been where we were headed anyway, Haristen being so young. Will they bring somebody else in? Will they move guys around in the secondary at all? Dorian Strong, the 6th-round pick, has gotten some compliments. Maybe this would be pretty wild if that happened like it happened for Benford, and now we have 2 6th-round picks starting, I don't know, week 1, but eventually. You draft Haristen. I agree with you. Let's not minimize his importance just because we know who Trey White is, and we've liked what we've heard from camp so far. You draft him, he's starting by the middle of the season, or else there's a problem.
Right.
I mean, if he doesn't start week 1 because he's not up to speed yet, okay. I mean, I wouldn't call him a bust if he doesn't start week 1. But if he's not starting by the second half, assuming he's healthy, of course, if he's not starting by the second half, why? And this was the case with Elam, too. When did it start to sound bad? Not right away. Like, he didn't play. He played a little bit in that. The first game of his career was at the Rams, was the Thursday night game.
And they were kind of splitting, he and Benford were like splitting time.
And they won easily. And, what were you going to complain about anyway? But, we had those conversations. It's kind of curious that Elam isn't just like right on top here. But you don't want to make any judgments so early. And as time went on, okay, well, now if he's inactive for games when he's healthy, and that started to happen, then okay, well, maybe we've got a problem here.
The biggest threat, I mean, ideal scenario is Trey White looks great, but Haristen is undeniable. He's here, his recovery speed, he's making plays on the ball, and some of that is happening in very small doses, but. As the camp goes on, as the summer goes on, as the season is nearing, it's just, Trey White really does look good, but Haristen is just a little better, and we're going to play the kid. We trust him. Like, that's the ideal scenario. And maybe that was fading away before he even got hurt. I don't know for sure. It's so early still in all of this. Like, we're focused on camp, but, like, they will continue to practice once camp is over before the real games start. There'll be a lot more that's going on at the stadium once they come back from St. John Fisher University. But nonetheless, if he has a devastating injury, a season-ending injury, then we're talking about Trey White here, and a part of the context is him not being able to physically be who he had been, not just because of the injuries, but the rest of your training, all you're doing is rehabilitating your knee or your Achilles. Like, that is the focus. You don't have time physically and maybe even mentally, emotionally to do all the other stuff you would normally be doing. So everything else sort of just falls apart. Well, welcome to that world, Maxwell Haristen, if that is the injury. He's going to have to rehab that injury. And so if it's the worst case scenario and that's the injury, torn ACL, then a year from now, we're talking about whether or not it's going to take him another few months to get all the way back up to speed. I mean, he's a younger kid now than Trey White was when he first got hurt, and that should be something that's on his side. And everyone's different. Stephon Diggs got hurt in October and was thought, there was a question because of the timeline of his recovery, whether he'd be ready for anything in the spring and even in the summer. And he was there for mandatory minicamp. I don't think he was there for the OTAs. I think he might have been on a boat for part of OTAs. But minicamp, he was there, and he's practicing in full with the Patriots. So he's older, and he just, he seems fine.
That boating can really be good for you.
Sure, depending on
the water has healing power.
What else is entailed?
Yes.
So Haristen is just a setback, and his career is not even really started yet.
If
it is that injury. So to me, like, pointing out the other guys on the team that you might want to have some faith in, that's fine. It's a good head. I'm doing the same thing with Trey White that maybe you're doing with Dorian Strong. I'm out of the caller now from already a few minutes ago. But there's no minimizing the impact of your first-round draft pick getting that injury if that's what has indeed happened.
No, it's one of the it would be one of the worst things that could happen to them. Number one, we all know what that would be. What's number two? Whose injury? It wouldn't be that high for this year because we don't really know who he is yet. If Elam had been injured like this as a rookie, we would have thought this way, but we wouldn't have known, what was the player going to actually look like. So I wouldn't say it's that. But it was their one position where they didn't have a starter. Like, this was the one hole on the starting, lineup. And he wouldn't have been, like, above, no need to rank guys, I guess. I don't really want to be doing that. But it's would you consider the possible long-term effect? It's really one of the worst possible outcomes for them in camp. if he has that injury. Because who knows, future-wise, like you're saying. And this season, if he has that injury, he's done. Like there's no coming back from it this year.
Right.
Dave is with us. Hi, Dave.
I just, the last caller, I don't really agree with him because I'm really looking at this like as a chess match because their speeds are for, at the Chiefs. Now we've got our speech. I really wanted to see how that would work out. I hope he's okay, but the guy from Ohio State, hopefully he'll work out. But geez, I just don't agree with the last caller having so much hope, and I'm really bummed that this might be happening.
Yep. Okay. Thanks. Yep. So would I be? Just don't want to sound like I know he's
right,
got the injury.
That's right. Thank you for sort of interjecting that in my while I was talking there, because I think if someone just hopped in, it might sound like we know something, and we still don't. We're waiting.
Why was Jim Lampley hiding what he knew about Maxwell Haristen last hour? For those watching and curious, which that couldn't be that many people, I'm drinking. You'll often see me with this vitamin water from the vending machine. But I have this bad habit of buying either the vitamin water or the unsweetened iced tea. Most days I'll have one or the other here beside me. And I rarely finish it. I've got water too. So almost every day I take it home like this, like
a quarter of it left or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what do you do with it?
Well, then I have the bright idea when I get home to leave it in the car.
Oh, that's
because
good,
I'm not going to. I got other water or cocktail or beer inside, so I don't need to take it inside. And
I think it's that it's been in the car for 12 hours, just getting hot.
Right. Let's say 22 hours.
Okay.
From leaving here yesterday to 20 minutes ago.
Oh, really? You just went out?
I went and got it. Because I was thirsty for some, and I don't want to just buy another one because I've got half of one in the car. So it's hot.
You're drinking a beverage that has been sitting in your car for 22 hours.
Yeah.
In these temperatures.
Yeah.
You are disgusting.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how you are belting that down.
It's good. Even though it's warm, it's good.
I feel like that would my throat would. I would want my throat to repel that. Get out of here!
Hang on, let me
reverse it. Just get out of here.
Let me throw it up.
I can't even. Oh,
let me get off camera so I can.
I can't do it.
You're not. This is all fair. This is all fair.
It's terrible.
I'd rather not waste it.
I respect that. Refrigerate it. Leave it in the fridge here.
When? End of the day?
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh, that's bad too, though. Well, you can't just put a half-drunk bottle of vitamin water in the fridge.
Why not? Who's going to touch it?
Nobody's going to touch it.
No, it's going to be there for you tomorrow. I got half.
Maybe I should do that.
I got half a sub in there that's getting me through the week.
I'm disgusting.
It's refrigerated. It's not going to. There's nothing wrong with it. This is not freshly made and wrapped up. It's been unwrapped twice.
Subs don't keep. The bread gets mushy.
I'm doing all right with this. I got a new
look at us.
I got a new method. I am at
hang on, I want to have
one of those
more.
giant 14-inch subs that you get from the place, right? Not necessarily the grocery store, but the sub making place that I think spawned the grocery store or vice versa, whatever. Anyway,
anywhere.
Really. Right. But it's a big sub that you can get cut in 4 pieces. That gets me through the week here, lunch.
Okay.
I am
this
now.
is getting me through the week.
I am now. There have been 3 times recently where I have gone out for wings at a place that I'm very happy with the wings.
Yes.
And I order a single order of wings, and I take half of it home.
Okay. Well,
I am slowing down.
You leave it in the car?
Is what is happening. I do not leave those in the car. No.
Good.
No,
I wouldn't do that.
Those go home, get refrigerated, perhaps reheated.
The way I do it is the food goes inside when I get home. I wouldn't leave the food in the car.
No,
but the drinks, I just feel like I'll just pick this up literally and figuratively. I'll pick it up tomorrow. It's probably bad. Somebody's going to tell me that it's bad in the plastic sense.
Yeah.
That the plastic will change maybe, and then I'm drinking some sort of different.
Yeah.
That I would probably have to respect. But I'm not getting cheated.
No,
I didn't finish it yesterday.
You get value
and I'm not going to. I don't want to dump it out.
Put it in the fridge.
That's so lame, though. It's like $3.
Put it in the fridge.
Well, now I'm not going to bother.
No, I mean, it's
too late now.
You already drank a bunch of that hot vitamin water.
Hot vitamin water.
Just, he just keeps doing it too.
He does.
I was with him until he said that it was the one from yesterday. I was there. I was also there with the sub thing until you said it gets you through the week. So you're both upsetting me right now.
You were okay with me drinking vitamin water until it wasn't from today?
I was okay.
Boiling hot car
I left it in my
water.
car, the whole thing, and then he was like, "No, this is the one from yesterday." And I'm like, I cannot defend this behavior.
Okay, well,
I would admit
now I'm starting to think it tastes different. You're in my head.
I got to admit the sub thing is not optimal, but it's convenient. I got just whatever. I mean, that sub costs
cost efficient.
It costs like $16 for that sub.
Yeah. It's cost efficient.
What?
You're getting 4 lunches out of it.
Yeah.
You're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandmother would be very proud of you.
I think it would probably be cheaper for me to buy turkey and rolls.
No, definitely.
And bring them in. But, I didn't think of that at 1:45 on Monday when I stopped and got this sandwich. But now I know it's here, so I don't have to go to the store and get turkey and rolls.
My Mimi would have been very proud of you. She was very much about efficiency. No wasted food.
Right.
3 kids to a very popular fast food chain. Say our ages are 12, 10, and 8.
Okay.
I'm the oldest. And we would swim 1 day a week. She would take us because she belonged to a hotel that had a pool. She would swim, and we would go swim with her.
Mm-hmm.
And be, kind of like exhausted. There's a hot tub, there's ping pong, there's swimming.
It was an activity-filled day.
Oh, the morning, yeah. And then after a couple hours of that, she would take us to this very, very well-known fast food establishment, and we would each we would maybe split a cheeseburger, which that's pretty small.
Yeah.
3 ways. And then 1 order of French fries, 3 ways, and she would count them. Wow. And then if there was 1 extra, she would divide it into thirds. So we'd all have the same amount of food. And then she would save the wrappers and take it home and burn them to heat her house. Everything
is being used.
Everything is being used, and we're starving.
Right. Eating a third of the smallest thing on the menu at the fast food place.
The literal smallest item on the menu.
Cut in 3.
Cut into thirds, and then a third of the small fries. That's how it went.
Oh,
that was Wednesdays.
And we loved it that way.
Oh, we loved it. I can't wait to take grandkids out someday and give them thirds of burgers. And my leftover heating up in the car vitamin water.
Boiling hot car vitamin water.
G's in there. There's a clip of this right now in the morning. You never see them laughing or smiling, or they always just sort of...
No.
Hey, that show works.
Yeah.
They're both very talented.
I'll talk to Owen tonight about getting some variety.
I don't know.
Facial expressions.
What can he do? I don't know what he can control really.
Very much less than normal because they're not here.
Mm-hmm.
They're
tomorrow they'll be here.
They'll be here tomorrow.
I got to make sure this isn't going to fall apart when I get here.
Oh, yeah. Well, sure.
Maxwell Haristen maybe has a serious injury. We don't know yet. We'll be looking again. Sal will join us at 6. You're welcome to join us next, 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole.
Injuries continue to be one of the main storylines for Bills training camp through 6 days, and it continued this afternoon. First-round rookie Max Haristen left practice early with what appeared to be a knee injury. Fellow corner Dane Jackson spoke to the media after practice and said it appeared to be a non-contact injury. No word yet on the severity. Safety Cole Bishop also left practice early, but was able to return and stand off to the side. Bills will have off tomorrow, and then they'll get back at it on Thursday. We'll get more on today. Sal Capaccio, he joins the show at 6, and Sal also has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And a reminder, coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. It was a big injury day around the NFL, specifically for cornerbacks. Patriots Christian Gonzalez dealing with a hamstring injury. He is expected to be out for a few weeks, though. His week 1 availability not expected to be in jeopardy. Cowboys lose Kalen Carson 4 to 6 weeks with a hyperextended knee, and Browns Martin Emerson Jr. suffered a left Achilles injury. He will undergo an MRI tomorrow to determine the extent of that injury. And then in baseball, the Bisons get after it at 6:30. They are hosting Syracuse. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. And the Blue Jays will play Game 2 against the Orioles, also getting underway at 6:30. The Orioles dropped Game 1, 16-4. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Great example of a guy like, don't look at numbers, don't count. You just find ways to develop and continue to get better. Shoot, early in that year, he was inactive, his rookie year, and then injuries happen. He comes out, has an opportunity against Baltimore, and then he just continues working, and his approach doesn't change. And I think some of it was just given the opportunity. We had some injuries, when I kind of took over, but Khalil Shakir is going to continue to get better. A lot of our success is because of him.
Joe Brady. Bills preseason opener is next Saturday, a week from Saturday, afternoon game against the Giants. How are the Giants feeling to you these days?
Like they're going to be probably bad. But I don't know. Like, if Russ can throw some moon balls to Malik Neighbors, he had a scare today, right? But I guess doesn't sound that scary, but it was, a little.
I can't take it anymore. I mean, Neighbors this is what happens when you have drafted everybody. You're scared about everybody.
Sure.
Neighbors had a foot or a toe thing back like in minicamp time, and no biggie. Training camp arrives, he's there, and today he, at least to some extent, hurt his shoulder run blocking. Must we do all this? Is it really all worth it? We'll see about Haristen. Like, what a just awful result that would be for such a nothing. It happens, but there's not even like anything. There's no value in it. Just what was he doing? Jogging or something. Like, it wasn't even individual running drills. Not a contact injury or anything like that. I mean, I guess I know you can't avoid it. Just feels worse when it happens like that. I think when it's just like not even a football play.
Yeah, I guess. Because, what? Well, why exactly? Because to some extent, if they're doing something and there's contact, you could say, why are you putting them in contact?
That's right.
You should be more careful. But if you're just, non-contact, and you just that happens, I mean, that's just bad luck.
No, fair point. Either way, there's something about it that's more regrettable. This is like not even. You're just kind of warming up, It's not even like what was the benefit of, you have to warm up to get ready to do the football stuff, but still, like, it just doesn't feel like much. And then if it's a football play, contact injury or something, you can say what you said.
Yeah.
Why did we need that? Well, that might be Ty Johnson. I don't know how serious that one is. Maybe not that serious, but he went down on a tackle today.
Right. That I think some observers have described as being out about like late. It was a hit that didn't need to happen.
Really?
But did. And so we've got, maybe that to sink our teeth into. I don't know. But back to the Giants. I mean, I'm not ready to go super long on them, but I mean, I just think if Abdul Carter is at all as advertised, they've got 3 guys up there that I don't know might be better than any of the guys I have at all. Burns and Thibodeau, and maybe Thibodeau's he looks the part but hasn't really delivered yet, maybe is the book on him, I guess. But it's still early enough in his career that I think you could still see the skill set turning into something. So I don't want to rush that, but they just, I don't know, maybe they will be hard to block, and that could be really good for them. I don't know how potent I would expect their offense to be, really. I think it's, neighbors and hoping Russell Wilson can find him on 50-yard rainbows, and that's not a real great plan. And I know it's obviously a lot more than that, but I'm intrigued by what they've got at like edge/linebacker.
Over under 5.5 wins.
Yeah.
There was a funny tweet about the Giants today from Connor Hughes. Brian Daboll did the thing where he just puts Jackson Dart in for a play on a drive Jameis Winston runs every other play for, just to keep him on his toes, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was a disaster. Delay of game, then a mistimed snap off Dart's face. Great ending. Great kicker off Dart's face.
Right. Oh.
Well, we should get some Jackson Dart in that first preseason game, and Abdul Carter, you would think. Hopefully Maxwell Haristen, but that might be a long shot. Who knows? 803-0550 is the number. Russell Wilson, by the way, isn't it interesting to think about his career or legacy, if you want? Like, just sort of what is the state of it? I mean, not that long ago, 2020, COVID season, they played here, Seattle. And he put numbers up. That was a high-scoring game that the Bills won.
The coming into that game, he was. I don't think we were talking. Betting had not yet entered our world in the way that it is now, so present.
But MVP favorite?
Yeah, he was talked about for the MVP and was pointed out how he's never won it, and he's having this great year. And I've sort of bought into all that. And when the Bills took them down, for me, that is the game where I thought, like, this current edition of the Bills, they turned into a team that I could see winning the Super Bowl. Like, that game was that meaningful. And Wilson's status at the time in the league was a part of it. Like, Allen he was better. And, we're better. We're that good. Seattle, it turned out, maybe that was, I don't think, has Russell Wilson been mostly downhill since then? Like, it kind of feels like it.
Yes.
Do with that what you will, but that was a significant game. He was that good at that moment that it meant a lot to me that the Bills were able to take them down.
Yes, I think you can go back to that point in time. 2020 season, the Seahawks, that was a middle of the season game. But he ends up, they went 12-4, Seattle. 40 touchdown passes, 13 interceptions for Wilson that year. Nothing close since. Really. Well, the next year, they lost more, and he got hurt. He jam his thumb or something on a helmet in a night game, and Geno Smith went in, and that was like the return of Geno Smith, and he was actually pretty good. And then the next year, he's off to Denver, disaster, Nate Hackett.
Yep.
Peyton takes over in Denver, tries to salvage Wilson. It goes badly. And then it's last year, Pittsburgh. So now the Giants, like now he's a journeyman. This is 4 teams in 5 years for Wilson, which happens to guys, but kind of like really more toward the end than this. I mean, he went to Denver at 34. I don't know. He's a little bit confusing to think about.
Yeah.
I was always a big fan of his.
Yeah,
I knew he was an odd duck.
Me too.
But
yeah,
as a player,
I became less a fan of him the more I got to know about him. Like, just thinking, do I want that guy in charge of my team? Like, I don't care. You can be as odd as you want. I just don't know that I want you at the front of my football team. Like, I think I'm weird. I would not want me at the front of my football team.
No.
Like, I don't think I wouldn't trust me. So I think it's tough when you are a different sort of dude and you're in that sort of role. Like, it really sounds like that was what unraveled in Seattle, was that, like, his play no longer offset the personality, and then you got a problem. And here we are. Like, I wonder if there is still a really good to great player in there. Like is there a late career like reclamation coming for Russell Wilson? I kind of doubt it, but
I kind of doubt it.
I don't know. He was really cool. He was really good for a while there.
9-8 is his playoff record. Started a playoff game last season for Pittsburgh.
Well, somebody had to.
Not bad stats either. 9-8. Allen is 7-6. His playoff record. His playoff numbers are really good. 25 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. Wilson is 27-12 for his career. Yeah, I mean, he's sort of become closer to Flacco among Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, most of whom there's really no question about. I guess Hurts will be somebody to watch over the years going forward, but most of these guys are like the guys who are pretty quickly to become legends, Mahomes and Brady, But Flacco never was this.
Right.
And he was debated, on a level that really you have to tip your hat to. Is Joe Flacco elite? It's one of the all-time great debates.
It maybe made sports Twitter.
Yeah, maybe. So it was debated how good he was, and I think that's maybe what we're going to do with Russell Wilson, although that might slight his peak years.
Are you still looking at his career there? Do you have it?
Yep.
How prolific a runner was he early? Because I feel like there was a lot of running, and there was a season there. Maybe it's the year that he got hurt after the 20 season that we were just talking about, you know what? It was even a thing that year coming in 20. He'd had some sort of a leg injury or something, and there was maybe the season before they're curtailing his running, or he's just not running as much as he used to because he wasn't comfortable or healthy enough to do it effectively. And I feel like that's when it ended, and he just has not been anything on the ground, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. He had an 849-yard, 6-touchdown rushing season when he was young at 26. Then that 2020 season, 513 yards, not terrible.
Yeah, that's still pretty respectable.
For Denver, he ran 80 times in 2023, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, so not effective anymore.
Yeah, right. But it's still not just fall down guy. But it's not. Yeah, it's just not. He's not a weapon. For a little bit there, he felt like I don't want to exaggerate. He was never Lamar or anything or Allen, but he was dangerous.
Yep, that's right. Just interesting to think about how he'll be remembered. Is he going to be remembered as this guy at the end that's bouncing around, and are we going to sort of relitigate how good he was? Was he even great? Well, the Seahawks that won, he won and then just barely lost on Malcolm Butler the next year for that close to back-to-back. Maybe that Butler play will define him. That's pretty harsh, though.
That is tough.
Still, that close to 2 in a row. And those are the greats. You win 2 in a row.
2 in a row, you're a legend.
Yep. You would not like yourself to be at the front of the team. You do not.
No.
You're too strange. Is it the sub? What is it?
What is it? It's the sub. It's the decision making. It's a lot of things.
You wouldn't like yourself as a team leader.
I'm not to be trusted. No.
Well, for what it's worth, I chugged that drink.
You don't want me setting the tone for anything.
I got out of it. I didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Unless it's a big night out. I can set the tone for that.
You don't have to see it anymore.
But really,
the hot vitamin water. We took care of it. I finished it. I didn't dump it out. I finished it. It's done with. Done with.
Don't do that anymore.
I think that's probably good advice. Sal Capaccio coming up at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Callers 5 and 6 at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947 will be our winners. The game is this Saturday, August 2nd at 6:35 p.m. In case you were wondering if it was like crack of dawn day. Mm-hmm. Celebrating women in sports, plus a post-game drone show will take place. For tickets, well, call and win now or visit milb.com. Drone shows. Love them. I'll say it. Here's Ron next. Hi, Ron.
Good afternoon, guys. You know, you're talking about Russell Wilson. I'm a big Seahawks fan. They're my second team. I think he'll probably be more in that, like, Eli Manning type realm, like that second tier. Like, you know, Eli Manning's probably got it because it's 2 Super Bowls, so he's up there that way too. But I think that's probably where he'll be. I think he was better than Eli Manning, though. But I think when it comes down to it, when you really look, the Legion of Boom, the defense was really why that team was as good as they were. As you know, I remember when Russell Wilson was good, I'm like, man, the Bills could have drafted him, but that's in hindsight, right? But I think the defense was much more well-known when we were talking about, you know, and Sunday Night Football, my favorite bringing in was always the Legion of Boom, this. And Russell Wilson, he's good, but you didn't think of him up there as, like, you know, Rodgers or anyone like that. He just didn't – he was good, but not, you know, like, oh, my gosh, you know, Peyton Manning type. More like an Eli Manning. But, again, in his years that they won, it really was more the defense. And without that, they probably don't win nearly as many games. So that's my opinion. Thanks.
Didn't you mentioned, Bulldog, the 2020 Bills meeting with the Seahawks and the narrative on Wilson at that time, MVP stuff. We talked about it quite a bit. Chris Collinsworth is who I think of as the voice of this, like this idea that Wilson is due for a career achievement award. Mm-hmm. Because maybe he'd never gotten a vote? Was that maybe it?
That might be it. There was, yeah, like I remember it as he's never really been considered, but I think you might have it. I think it might be that he never got even a vote.
Because for most of his career, they've changed the voting since then, where you only had, there was 50 writers, 50 media personalities, and you would just submit one name. So there'd be 50 votes. And there was no second, third, fourth, fifth, anything like that. Now they've changed that.
They make you, every voter stacks
5 maybe?
Yeah, right.
3 or 5. So if that were the case when he was in the Super Bowl those years, he would have probably gotten votes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he ever did get one.
I think that's right. That rings a bell anyway. And I think the caller, I think, I mean, he's a Seahawks fan. I think that's fair too. I mean, the defense was one of those legend. It's a nickname defense, and there's only a handful of those in league history, and that was definitely one. And wasn't that sort of at the center? I mean, look, they were all aging. It was going to fall apart eventually, but wasn't a big part of the friction with Wilson when he started being perceived as this different cat was that the defense felt like Pete Carroll was, I don't know, just too agreeable, like just sort of treated Wilson differently than the rest of the team, and that rubbed those guys the wrong way because they, I think, felt maybe more like the caller, like we're the reason here, like why is he getting special treatment? We're the straw that's stirring the drink over here, recognizing that one guy's the quarterback and the rest of the guys are a bunch of DBs, but still, I think there was friction about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, not sure he'll play in the preseason for the Giants, but the Bills face the Giants in their first preseason game a week from Saturday. Sal will preview it for us when we come back. The big news today, how bad is it with Maxwell Haristen? We don't know officially yet. See what Sal's perspective on it all is after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Injuries continue to be the name of the game for the Buffalo Bills 6 days into training camp today. First-round rookie corner Max Haristen left practice early with what appeared to be a knee injury. Following practice, fellow corner Dane Jackson, speaking with the media, said it appeared to be a non-contact injury. So far, no word yet on the severity. Cole Bishop also left practice early, but he was able to return and stand off to the side. Bills will have off tomorrow, and we'll get more on today. Sal Capaccio, he joins the show next, and Sal does also have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. A reminder, coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Some other injury notes around the NFL. A bad day for corners. Patriots Christian Gonzalez dealing with a hamstring injury. He is expected to miss a few weeks. Cowboys, Kalen Carson 4 to 6 weeks with a hyperextended knee. And Browns, they are expected now to lose Martin Emerson Jr. as he suffered a left Achilles injury, though he will undergo an MRI tomorrow to determine the extent. While in baseball, Blue Jays dropped Game 1 of a doubleheader to the Orioles, 16-4. Game 2 expected to get underway in just about a half hour. And likewise, the Bisons also in action tonight. They host Syracuse, and that game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Bills camp today at St. John Fisher, and a scary potential injury is the lead story. What happened to Maxwell Haristen, and how bad is it? We don't know that officially. Sal Capaccio with us now to discuss here on the West Her Hotline. Sal, let's start with Haristen. What did you see? What do you know?
Yeah, we really didn't see him go down, most of the media. He was working on the backfield. And at that time, it was just kind of a couple position groups that were over there. So you kind of pick and choose what you're watching. And most of us were watching wide receivers and DBs. Wide receivers and, quarterback and throwing the ball and things like that. So when the DBs came over to do some one-on-one work, Max Haristen wasn't there. And then word started to filter around the media that he had been down, and a couple of media members did get video of him on the ground, but no one saw him actually go down. I tweeted something in my story from Carl Jones of Channel 4. There's more from Dan Fates, from Wham out here in Rochester. So whichever angle you want, you see the same thing, which is Max Haristen sitting on the ground with Nate Bresky, the lead head athletic trainer of the Bills, doing what appeared to be some sort of test on his knee, feeling around, and then Harrison laid down on his back, looked like he was upset, put his hands up towards his head, and then he sat up, he got up, players were around him, they were talking to him. He was helped off the field by Nate Bresky. They didn't bring the card out, he walked, but he was helped off the field. Since then, there's been no word on anything yet. We don't know anything. I don't know if that's good or bad. Obviously, you hope for the best for Max Harrison, but it didn't look good.
Yeah. Do you take any cues? I mean, recognizing that we don't know, and certainly you or no one else, myself or Mike included, are going to want to guess at anything here. But the way the guy, like teammates, I saw a video of Christian Benford who seemed, upset about it. And watching players even interacting with Harrison in the videos you're describing, it felt like they thought it might be bad.
Oh, I would say that for sure. But, I think that's also kind of normal reaction to any time a player is down and you think it could be, but you just don't know. When I watched players around Tyrell Shavers the other day, it was kind of similar.
Right.
And, Tyrell Shavers is coming back. Now, it was an ankle. It wasn't what appeared to be a knee here for Max Harrison, but people gathered around him and they were hugging him and talking to him. And then he got onto a cart and he went back in. So, but yeah, guys, players know. They know what they've seen before, what those things kind of mean sometimes.
and you kind of get your cues from that. And then when you hear Dane Jackson and Taron Johnson both talk about it being a non-contact injury, that was a thing for us in the media. We were trying to figure out, okay, he was over there. Did he run into somebody? No, last year, remember when Matt Milano hurt his bicep? And we found out what happened was he had hit a bag. Did he hit somebody, Max Harrison? Right. That's not the case. From what it was told afterwards by a couple of his teammates, it was a non-contact injury, which really then becomes concerning.
Well, one thing to watch for, of course, is if the Bills do what they did at receiver yesterday, which is bring in somebody. That wouldn't be a great sign, of course. How was it going for Haristen? If it's even worth sort of illustrating at this point, in case he's not hurt badly, I guess. What were the reviews so far?
He's been up and down, but nothing I would say too up or too down. I don't think he's made any super flashy, incredible plays. I don't think you're going, oh my God, where the hell was he on that one? He was beaten by Keon Coleman yesterday. I think it was. I talked about it was a play down the left sideline, and this was in one-on-one drills, by the way. Play down the left sideline, and Josh threw it to Keon like they decided to run a deep route on a one-on-one. And Max Harrison's kind of trailing. He's beat by maybe a step, but he's got a chance to close, but Keon goes high points it, and Max kind of runs by him. I think those are just little subtleties that he's got to get better at. But it seems like he's kind of right there in position, understands at least where he's supposed to be. I think that's a big part of it for Max Harrison. When I watched him in OTAs and minicamp, I think that was an issue sometimes where you could hear people lining him up, and whether it's teammates or coaches, move up, move back, move over, something like that. I don't hear that. That's great. But I'd say it's a bit up and down. He's done nothing to tell me that he should be starting over Tre'Davious White at this point. I'll say it that way. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that he's been bad. It just means Tre'Davious White's been steady. And Max Harrison hasn't done anything super flashy to prove that he belongs on the field over him.
Yeah, it really does change. I've tried to make sense of what I'm thinking, and I'm not sure I've been able to spit it out in a way that comes across to the majority of people, Sal, but I'll try it one more time with you. Like, if Harrison, whatever the injury is, I mean, he looks like he's going to probably miss some time. I guess we could be incredible news where it's just like, oh, he's fine. But if it's the worst, the Tre'Davious White story sort of goes from being like, oh, look, he's still got it. He's really good, like reclamation, and it's emotional. A lot of us feel emotional about Tre'Davious White, in part because of having watched him go through the injury process and be so open about how mentally and emotionally draining it was for him. Like, I think we feel for him because of the injuries in a certain way. And mostly, I wouldn't say I've been rooting for him to win the job over Harrison because I like the idea of the rookie winning the job, but it just changes the whole Tre'Davious White story to me. It becomes like urgent that he that he reclaim his past glory if something happened to Harrison, and he's not going to be available for any amount of time.
Tre'Davious White, I thought, was the best player in the field today, to be quite honest with you. And I think I agree with you. Like this. The way that we look at Tre'Davious White fighting for a starting job, it's a nice story. He's back in Buffalo, and can he be any sort of himself, or is he just a shell, or whatever? I mean, that's the question. Now it becomes okay. You need him to play, and what does he have? Because he needs to have something. Mm-hmm. So far, so good. I like what I've seen from him. I thought he was superb today. He was. If it wasn't for the injury to Max Harrison, Tre'Davious White would have been the highlight of the story for me today, to be honest with you. He had in one-on-ones, what they did was they ran goal line one-on-ones, right? So, Allen's the quarterback, you're snapping at the 5-yard line. And the first one, he went against Josh Palmer, and he's just on him all the way through to the end zone, back of the end zone. Palmer's trying to kind of shake loose, he can't. And the quarterback in that situation isn't going to throw it away, so he tries to fit it in, Josh does, and Tre'Davious just turns around and picks it. And everybody went crazy on the defensive side. And then a little bit later, he's going against Keon Coleman, and he didn't let him breathe at the goal line. I mean, he was just all over him. And, again, Josh okay, I'm going to throw it. And Tre'Davious made a really nice play to knock it away. They're going on 11-on-11 later,
and there's a really nice ball, deep ball down the sideline. Josh Palmer has a beat on it, and Trey is kind of like a little bit trailing him. He's in good position, but he just got up and used his length, perfectly timed it, knocked it away. If he doesn't do that, it's a big gain. And I just think that he was really good today. And you're right, that could be this. It is shaping up to be a really interesting story. You hope it's not at the expense of Max Harrison not being on the field. I would also tell you guys that, you go back to what you said, Mike. They could certainly bring someone in, right? And that would tell you something. There's no doubt. I think also, though, they have a pretty crowded room right now. So if you have an extra roster spot, maybe it's not just deep corner, right? I mean, maybe they bring another guy in another position because I think they like what they're seeing from some of the other guys. Dorian Straw, Jamarcus Ingram's out there, Dane Jackson. These guys got to get some time as well.
Right, good point.
These plays that you described from White will suffice for our best of training camp today, which is brought to you by Northtown Automotive. Get a Northtown Engine Shield engine protection warranty on new and used vehicles. Sal, do you think maybe, what is it like when the team has the day off? Like, I'm wondering about how we haven't heard anything at all locally or any of the national guys. There's been no word. And I wonder if a part of that is because with the day off tomorrow, everybody kind of got up and out of there after practice.
No, I think they have a walkthrough tonight. Actually.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
They do a regular practice and then a walkthrough pretty much on a daily basis.
Okay.
And then tomorrow. So I think they're at a walkthrough tonight. Most guys won't leave. They won't go home. They'll have meetings and stuff tomorrow. So they really don't. The players are pretty much all at camp. I mean, maybe there could be something going on. There could be public relations stuff, appearances, things like that. Who knows? Maybe a guy does head home, but. From what I know, I think most of the guys stay up there. There's a lot of golf playing, I think, going on the days off, to be quite honest with you,
all right.
Up in Rochester.
Also, to some extent, injured today, I believe I heard Cole Bishop, Ty Johnson. I saw a description of the Johnson play with Andreessen. What do you know about either of those?
Yeah, I know Cole Bishop went back, so not really sure exactly what happened to him, but he was out. And then I think Ty Johnson went back, but I don't know if he took another rep. But the good news was I don't think he stayed out of practice. He came back in, and I don't think he took another rep, but he was back on the field in some capacity. So just add it to the list of guys. I mean, guys, you could probably look at it right now. There was a list we put out earlier today. When we got to practice, and Alec Anderson was on it. He's another guy that didn't practice today. I mean, they're just getting really depleted right now. Who else? Dwayne Carter with an illness didn't practice today. There were a couple guys with heat-related issues from yesterday. It is hot out there, so and then they took a break like an hour plus into practice, and I haven't seen them normally take for a little bit longer. I think just to get everybody a little bit of break, a little bit of water, and now they're not taking breaks, but this seemed like it was a little bit extra, to be honest.
On the bright side of all of this, our concern about Dalton Kincaid, not that it's completely quelled, but whatever was bothering him yesterday, he was well enough to go today, and I didn't hear any different. I assume he did a full workload today.
Yeah, from what I saw, he did, no doubt. And Elijah Moore was back today as well, so that's good news. Terrell Bernard was doing some work with trainers off to the side, so that's good news. I mean, when you have a hamstring injury, if you're not anywhere to be seen, then, it's something that's going to take a little while. Once you start to be seen and they're actually working and moving around and doing stuff with trainers, I think to me, that's encouraging. You're getting closer. We saw Terrell Bernard out there doing some work today as well.
Sal, I'm just thinking earlier you were talking about Trey White in some goal line stuff, and he made a couple of good defensive plays. Who for you will be, like, if there even is one, the go-to receiver pass catcher option, on a play like that from the five? Who does Allen want on a typical play, season on the line kind of stuff? Who would he want on a 4th and goal at the 5, say? How does that rank for you?
Ooh. Well, I guess you could slice it a number of different ways, Mike. It's probably all about matchups, what they do last year against Tariq Woolen, right? And they went to that fade ball to Keon Coleman. I think that's something they'd love to do. Remember when I think Keon dropped it and Jalen Ramsey had the interception last year? So Keon's been a guy that they've gone to. But I think back of Josh, over the years, I think he kind of likes some of the smaller guys, the way they can navigate down there. Isaiah McKenzie's come through a couple of times. They Curtis Samuel on 4th down last year, I think, on a play in Kansas City, right? I think it was. I think that he's like a lot of those guys that can kind of just become available for him. So it's a tough call. I don't really know. I think about Dalton Kincaid, but I don't know if that's his game necessarily, being the red zone guy, but he could be someone you could look to there. Dawson Knox has been somebody he's looked to.
Yep.
And that's something that they do. Hey, who knows? Maybe a guy like Jackson Hawes becomes a little bit more of a pass-catching tight end threat because he can block so much down there. The teams have to respect that, and they play up on him.
Also Dawkins, historically, from time to time.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Is there anything at all to report on if there is indeed, is there a backup quarterback battle, and is there anything to report on it?
I think there's a battle. I don't know how deep the battle goes until we get to preseason. I want to see what happens in preseason. I mean, I'm guessing Mitch Trubisky will be the backup quarterback to start, take the second team reps, be the first guy. But I think that's just because of where they are right now, where he's been. I think that Mike White has an opportunity to win the job, and I like what Mike White's done. I don't think either guy has wowed or flashed. I think it's kind of been okay. Let's see. Look, I think Trubisky has a bit of a leg up too because he can run, and I think the Bills really want to have the ability to be a little bit mobile back there if possible. And Mike White doesn't really offer that as much. But, yeah, I think there's a backup quarterback battle, and I think that we're going to find out a lot about what the Bills think about each guy as the preseason goes on and how much they played against whom in what situations.
Sal, we'll let you go here. Thanks for your time, and you're off tomorrow, I assume, because the team is, mostly.
Mostly, yeah. Yes. During the day, I think I'm on. I think I might be on Extra Point Show, but I'll have to confirm that. But I won't be talking to you guys, I don't think, tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks for your time today.
You got it.
There you go. Our coverage of training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel, Carr, and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today.
I'll probably be back watching the Yankees some tonight.
That's on my radar for sure. Yep.
Tampa.
Home for Tampa.
I watched some of that game last night.
Yep. Schlittler last night.
Schlittler. You got to be very careful.
Yep.
He got kind of flustered in the first inning.
Yep.
Yankees tied it, but Tampa went on to win. How about these huge fluorescent oven mitts base runners wear now?
I was thinking about that. Is it Dominguez for the Yankees? One of the base runners early in the game. Or this might have even been in the Phillies series. But I noticed a lot of guys wear them. But there's one guy on the Yankees. Yeah, they're like Dayglow green, like Seattle green.
Tampa, too.
And what are you doing? Like, I understand if you want to protect yourself, great. Can't they match the socks? Or something that just give me...
color is the thing.
If you're on the Yankees, just give me the blue mitts. I don't need the Dayglow green ones. You've got no Dayglow green in your uniform at all. What are you doing?
Maybe it helps you to get a safe call on a review or something. If it's more obvious, that that's your hand.
Yeah, I guess.
Opposed to white.
I hope that there's something.
Or the color of the other team's socks. Something other than the color of the other team's socks or shoes.
That's got to be it. You're trying to stand out and offset it, but I don't know.
Or their glove. But, Chisholm's glove is purple and green.
Be careful what you wish for there, because then you might end up telling on yourself. You might be more obviously out.
I don't know.
Because of the Dayglow. I don't like it.
These teams have analytics people for this now.
Yeah, I'm sure
they have a whole wing to determine what you should wear when you're sliding into third. But they're just so big.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem quite right.
They are
Can I
enormous.
go as big as I want on these gloves? Can I wear...
Well, right, isn't that... If they're 2 inches above your fingertips, you're gaining an advantage sliding into the base.
I don't know.
Aren't
Seems
you?
Right.
Like, right? The mitt is what's going to be safe because it's on your body, so the bigger the better. They should restrict those.
Old men.
Get back to form-fitting gloves. Gloves with fingers
Bulldogs
that aren't too big. You can't have it. It's not okay.
And they're not teal when you're the Yankees. Come on. Have some Yankee pride. We had our share of pride today. Jim Lampley was on earlier, and it was a fun conversation. We will share that with you next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.